Renars podcast.
Get along with this. We'll always start with a little dance. You ready?
Yeah.
Just a little move. Oh, yes. So, today is a great day. Today is a fantastic day because we have Jack Parr in the house. Actor himself. Came all the way from where?
Essex.
2 hours drive, man.
2 hours drive, yeah.
So much love. Thank you so much for being here, buddy.
Dedication.
Hey.
Dedication to the cause.
So, Jack is a person who I met last year. Do you remember the month?
Was it July?
I like how you answer with a question. I think about July.
I think it was summer. It was midsummer.
So we met on the film, which we just saw yesterday, which was the screening. Actually, for me, it's probably one of the first screenings I've ever seen.
Really?
I'm not such a superstar as you are. The movie called Take Cover, and we met mainly because we had a fight scene together. And Jack did an amazing job.
Oh,
I'm just saying that in front of cameras, obviously.
Yeah, to all your stunt guys, you're like, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
No. Because like the most important from our side was like the effort, dedication, and respect towards us, and you had all of those things.
Great.
And you did a very good job.
Thanks,
in the
man.
end. And Jack, all I know about you, that you're an actor with 9 years of experience.
Yeah.
I literally have it saved on my phone like that.
Really?
Because when we introduced, I was like, actor, so how long you been doing it? 9 years. I was like, okay, I need to write it down. 9 years. But now it's been 10 then.
Probably been 10, yeah.
It's a decade.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, so you started acting about 2014, 15.
Yeah, I think that was my first short film.
That's why I
2014.
qualified to be a stuntman.
Is it?
So my stunt career is pretty much as long as your acting career.
Wow. Well, we're doing okay, I think.
I don't know.
We're doing all right.
Who knows? I mean, we're sitting in a shed and
Yeah.
Saturday.
Do they know that? We should pretend it's much bigger than that.
Yeah, we can say like, this is this massive studio we hired.
Studio in London
that
we bought
in London.
Yeah.
And dude, like honestly, don't know much about you, which is actually makes it even more exciting for me to ask all these questions and all that stuff. Let's start from very beginnings. Let's start with Essex. Is that where you grew up? Is that your hood?
No.
Go for it.
I was born up in the old northern hemisphere of the UK, so I'm actually classed as a Midlands lad.
Okay.
So my postcode is Nottinghamshire, but I always class myself as a northerner because like everyone down south is like, if you're above Watford, then you're just northern, and I'm like, I like that. So I'm actually a Midlands guy. So I was born like in this very, very, very small town, like village called Norton. It's very close to Cookney. No one knows it, so I just say it's in between Mansfield and Sheffield. Or in between Nottingham and Sheffield. Have you ever heard of Mansfield?
I mean, it sounds like something else, but
Yeah, it's literally this like little mining town. So like my dad was a miner, and so very working class like villagers around this area. So there was no prospects for like acting. No one knew about movies. Like it just wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Like no one. Everyone's like my dad and my brother are welders. They work together. You're a joiner. You're a farrier. Like. I was saying to my dad, like, what do I do when I get older? And he's like, well, and everyone's got horses back home. So he was like, you should be a farrier. A farrier, I don't know if you know what a farrier is.
I'm guessing something to do with horses. Right? Horseman.
Yeah, here's the horse guy. Yeah. And a farrier is the person that makes horseshoes. So they'll make the horseshoes, then they'll come and fit it onto your horse. And they charge loads of money.
You were so close to do a proper career in your life.
A real
and
job.
Instead you chose fucking acting.
What an idiot, man. If I could turn back time. He said, why don't you be a farrier? And I was like, that looks pretty cool. Like the guy comes with this cool like leather apron and he's like always like really hard and he's like nailing nails into a horseshoe. And I'm just like...
That sounds so like a beginning of gay porn, man.
I think I've got a weird fantasy, yeah.
Because I think you just got attracted to the idea of like, that's the way you're going to look, not what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. I'm just going to stroll in there with my nice apron.
Nothing to do with the job at all, yeah.
Nothing else wearing, it's what's that, butler in the buff?
Yeah. You're just naked underneath there. You got this leather, yeah. Damn. Maybe I romanticize how I look,
like how you look
in jobs and 100%. Not the actual job, yeah. God, I suck at like being a real good person. I should have been a...
Because I think as a kid, I think that's what's appealing, how we think they look.
Do you know what? That's fine.
The visual stuff,
people go, oh, I want to be a fireman or a policeman. Because it's like you're in a uniform and it's like you look kind of cool.
We like men in a uniform.
Yeah, I know.
It's combo. Who else likes men in uniform? I know.
The women will be like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
my dad said, be a farrier. And I was like, because I kept on saying to him, this is why I love my dad, because he gave me full control. I don't know if this is true, but I think most parents like try and guide you in a way. You should go into financing or accountants or like do something where you'll have a good, prosperous life and all that sort of stuff. He was like, do whatever you want to do. And I was like, no, you're my dad. You have to tell me.
Do it up for your dad. What's your dad's name?
John.
Yeah. And your name's Jack.
Yeah.
John and Jack.
Proper working class blokes up north. John and Jack. Couldn't think of anything
my
else.
name's John. I got my son named Jack. Original.
Yeah,
well done.
that's literally it. Like, everyone's just called the same up north. So he was like, just do whatever you want to do. And I was like, no, Dad, you're my dad. You have to tell me. And he was like, well, why don't you be a farrier? That's a good job. And he started telling me about the process and stuff. And he said it takes 5 years at college to be a farrier. Because you got to learn, you got to basically be like a horse vet. You got to know everything about horses so that you don't like injure it. And as soon as I heard 5 years, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And he's like, see? So you have to choose what you want to do. Like, it's up to you.
That's awesome.
And he really like plowed that into me. And I'm so grateful because when I found something, I was like excited. I ran home and I was like, I want to be an actor. And he was just like, go for it. He's like, like, do it. Like, I'm sure you'll figure it out. Like, he really believed in me. It was like, if you put your mind to something, you can do it. And I was like, okay.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
So the story is, we've got time, but the long story is when I was 14, I wrote a script on this as well. Very much like Billy Elliot. I was in drama class. And
did you feel electricity whenever you put the apron on?
I never got the apron. I need to. Yeah, I never.
No, where's that? Oh,
I think I need to
get it now,
live
man.
my dream, my fantasy.
When I post this podcast, I need a photo of you in that apron. So
you want me naked or
no?
Is this for your own?
No, for the podcast. Oh, whatever.
This is for your own bank, is it?
Okay, it's for me. Yeah.
I'll send it to you privately.
Okay, there you go.
So when I was 14, I was in drama class, and this teacher, I think someone went off on maternity. This teacher came in as a supply teacher, and she ran a local theatre, amateur dramatics theatre, and she did a play every year, and she started teaching at our school just to cover. And she just saw me and she was like, this kid, because I saw drama as like a massive mess around, like a massive fuck about. Like, I thought it was just so funny to go in there, like dick about.
Yeah.
I was like, make everyone laugh. Like I was always trying to make everyone laugh and like get the
Stand
clown.
up.
I was the class clown basically.
Yeah.
But what she saw was like, oh, this kid might have something. So she called my grandma. She knew my grandma, and she was like, we've had a dropout in this local play, and Jack would be perfect for it. And my grandma said to me, Joe Rickson, which, funny story actually, how things go around. I just contacted her like after 10 years.
Are you serious?
And I called her up and I was like, Joe, like, I just wanted to let you know, like, you inspired me to be an actor.
Wow.
And I've done all this stuff. And because she's not on social media.
Right.
So I sent her everything, and she was like, she couldn't believe it. She was like, do you mind if I tell the kids about you? Like at our theatre class, like you're a massive inspiration and stuff. So anyway, my grandma said, do you want to do it? I said, no. And I was at my mum's at the time. And my mum lives in Sheffield, and I was over at my mum's, and I told my mum, and she said, you should do it. You should do it. Because I was always like acting up at home and like reenacting Arnold Schwarzenegger and like, I was like always watching like Rambo and all those movies. I loved them, like Rocky and all those things. And I'd like reenact it in the living room. So my mum was like, you should do it. You should do this. Like, you should be an actor. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't know. And like everything was gay. But when I was young, like everyone like, it all makes sense now. Like everything was gay, and I was like, no, like everyone will call me gay and stuff, and I was scared. I was really scared. So I was like, no, I don't want to do it. They convinced me to do it. So I was playing rugby at the time. I was a rugby player, and the rehearsals.
You had some muscles in those days.
It's all gone now. I don't know.
It's obvious. You don't have to state obvious.
Yeah, it's all disappeared. I think the acting took it off me. So what happened was my best mate's dad used to take us rugby on a Wednesday night, and a Sunday we used to play our games, and rehearsals were on Wednesday nights and Sundays. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I can't make Wednesday night because I play rugby, but I could probably come after my match. I used to play rugby and then go straight to rehearsal. And my best mate and me lived very close, so his dad used to drop me off, and there was a very famous deer park like at the woodlands in between our houses, and I used to say, oh, could you just drop me off here? And he'd be really confused. He'd be like, why? And in between those woodlands was the village hall where the rehearsals were.
Yeah.
So I'd just get dropped off in the middle of the woods. And he'd just be like, do you want me to drop you off at home? And I was like, no, here's fine. And he was like, okay. And then I'd walk like ditched in mud and like rugby kit after playing a game and go to rehearsals. And I really enjoyed it. And I love this world, but I was just scared of anyone knowing. And everyone in the class was from school. So I said to everyone, please don't tell anyone. Like I was in like the cool kids group, the popular rugby players group. The jocks.
Yeah.
So I was like, please don't tell anyone. And so looking back, that's basically saying you guys aren't cool enough for me. So
it's very different. Like when we were kids, like we had such a fucked up understanding.
It's so weird,
and it was so much also the push from the environment and all that stuff. I remember I was actually kind of a bully when I was a kid. Because it just towards like some kids I remember because like they would be like trying to hang out with our group, but I was like our group was too cool and it was like fuck off kind of thing. Like we're too cool. But I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like we're so lucky that it wasn't as bad as in the States. Because in the States, there's just literally like, at least that's what we see in movies. I don't know how true that is, but it was like, you're a cheerleader, you're this, you're that, or you're a nerd or whatever. So.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. This is why writing the script made me realize so much about myself. And I was like, and school and like kids and like it's like a zoo. It's like a zoo of bullies. Like I realized that I was just doing things to fit in and be popular. But actually what I really wanted to do was not what I was like kind of performing. Like I was this rugby, like confident, like butch guy. But really deep down, I kind of wanted to do plays and theatre and like be a bit more sensitive and like let out emotions and stuff. And like it took so long for me to discover that. So like at 14, I was doing that in secret, didn't want anyone to know. And then my best mate's mum, just like, it was the night of the showing of the actual play and no one knew. I mean, even this little girl at school came up to me when I was with all the boys and she tugged my like blazer and was like, you coming to rehearsals tonight? And I was just like, fuck off. I was like, fuck off. And then all the boys were like, who, what? And I was like, oh, that's my, and I just made this story up. I said, that's my brother's girlfriend's little sister. And we hang out at her house, and she like makes me do these little weird plays in the living room. I don't know, and they believed it. They was like, "Oh, that's weird." And I was like,
"You acted very well already."
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, bro, she's so." I was like, "She's weird," and so I was like, "Please don't tell anyone. I'm going to get ragged for this." So on the night of the showing, my best mate's mum's going, Louise Lim. I love her. She's so sweet. So I didn't really mind about that. But then she comes into the living room. I'm with my two best mates, Will Lim and Lascelle. And she goes, Kathy and let's say Sarah. Kathy and Sarah can't make it tonight. Do you boys want these 2 tickets? And the boys were like, no. And because my best mate's sister was in the play. And I said to her, please, Izzy, don't tell Will. Don't tell Will.
No.
And she was like, oh, okay, I won't. And she was like, your sister's in the play. Like, come on, like, come watch the play with me. And they were like, no. And she was like, I'll buy a carton of wine. I'll let you have some wine. And they were like, okay, we'll come. Because she just wanted to get rid of the tickets and not be alone. So they came and I was in this full blue Lycra suit and I played this like cannonball guy. It was like a circus themed play. And I had to like run out and jump out on stage as I've been shot out of a cannon. And then I was like this like super dumb guy, like I don't know, I can't remember. I put on an American accent for some reason. I don't know why I did, but I did an American accent. And so I did this play and I remember looking into the crowd. I remember Lascelle and Will was like this. And then just slowly got their phones and I saw like little lights on. They were just like recording me. And they were like so confused. Like, what the hell is he doing? I learned how to juggle in the play. I was like doing circus theme. Loved it. But we all kind of had this thing where if something was a bit gay or you lied, we'd like give us like stuff each other in. So I wrote the script and I sent it to my mate and he was like really hurt by it because he was like, did I do that to you? And I was like, yeah, but dude, we did that to all of us. Like we all like kind of gave us each of us stuff. I'm not playing the victim here. Like I did get a beating for it, but I wasn't like black eyes and bruised. We were just walking home. I was on my push bike and they were like, can I have go on the push bike? And I was like, yeah. And then as soon as they got me off the push bike, they got me down into the grass and like started pummeling me a bit and was like, don't ever do that again. And that's gay. Don't ever lie to us again. No. And that's gay. And I was just like, I'll never do that again. And so they asked me to go back the next year. And I was like, I'm never going to do that again, ever.
So 14 years old, that means you were grade, what is that, 9?
I think I was year 9. Yeah. So I'm not blaming the boys for that because I probably did the same thing. Yeah. And like, that's just the culture of young lads. Yeah. That's fine. But that's what I'm trying to kind of say in the script is like, just trying to take away that stereotype of like, it's okay. And I think the funniest thing is, if I was just brave enough to be like, no, this is what I'm doing, I think everyone would just leave me alone. My perception of what people thought was probably worse than what actually people thought. I think when you're confident enough to be like, I'm just going to do it.
I mean, it would really help if you would have a best mate who you would know about it and it would support your side as well.
Yeah.
But because you felt it's just you, you're alone in this, and like, I probably would do the same thing.
Yeah. And I'm still like best mates with that guy still. And so there's nothing like hurtful about that. It was just what we did and it's fine.
Because when you just said like you jumped out with the blue and everything, did your face get painted in blue as well? Or is just the costume blue?
Just the costume. So it's lycra and a cape.
Earlier I was saying that I played in theater as well, and I was playing the piglet, right? Yeah. I need to find where the photo. I actually can ask my mom because it was old school photos, right? They're stuck in those photo albums. I was piglet, all pink, and my face was pink with crazy eyebrows.
God, that sounds amazing.
It was like the worst drag queen's outfit ever.
Amazing.
And I was next to the donkey. In this photo, this chick had a crush on, and she's like 2 heads taller than me. And now when I look back, but it's like, you see, I can say straight away that I never actually get any shit for doing theater from my peers.
Right.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. And like I said, maybe it's
because they knew they cannot fuck around.
There we go.
Fuck with the pink piglets.
Yeah. Just like hard as nails. Like, steroided up piglets. Like, I'll fuck you up. Yeah, no wonder, man. I don't think anyone would mess with you about that. Yeah. So the interesting change there was like I never did it again. Just went straight back to rugby, straight back to what I knew. Was trying to fit in, being popular. Not trying. I mean, we were just popular kids, but that was the status and whatever. And then when I was 19, we lived in this tiny little village, and then next door to our village was called Welbeck Estate. And that has these huge walls. It's like Assassin's Creed.
Oh, shit.
It's beautiful. Like these they're like 16-foot walls all the way around it, and like mansions there. And like,
or is it like Game of Thrones?
Kind of, yeah.
The wall.
The walls, the wall, White Walkers on the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah. The White Walkers are my family, just all inbreds. No, they're fine. But
oh my God.
Yeah, I'm not going to let them listen to this now. Can you cut that?
No, that's it. It's staying in.
And so the beautiful, beautiful place, like almost royalty lived there. And this massive budget film came and filmed on the estate called Testament of Youth. It was a World War I kind of epic drama. Kit Harington was in it, Alicia Vikander, and Taron Egerton. And Taron Egerton, it was like his first movie. Like he was very new. So the word was bustling around the villages, and I had the summer break before I was going to university to do sports science.
Wait, Taron Egerton, the same one who played the Kingsman?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I worked
Elvis.
I worked with him on not Elvis. He didn't do Elvis. You mean Rocket Man?
Rocket Man.
Yeah,
sorry,
he was playing Elton John.
Yes. Sorry, my bad.
I worked with him a couple scenes and stuff. Yeah, really cool dude.
Yeah,
very lovely guy.
He seems like a nice dude.
Yeah, right now the film, the TV series I'm working on, The Citadel. The guy who works with us, and he's doubling the main actor, the Richard, what's his last name? Yeah, and then he was doubling Taron.
Oh, really?
He did the most, and we literally now when we were coming up with some moves, whatever, he was showing from some of the moves they didn't use in the Kingsman, so we could use them on that. It was like pretty cool.
Kept him aside. No, it's good, mate. It's good. So this huge film came and filmed on the estate, and their headquarters was the same place that I did that play, the village hall, in between the two. In between
headquarters, you mean like a base?
Their base. So they had all the costumes there, all the vans, the production vans, all the white vans, for anyone who doesn't
headquarters.
know. Headquarters, HQ.
You can imagine there's a call sheet at the center, and headquarters here.
Production base. Production base, basically, was there in the village hall. And so all of our parents were saying, oh, you guys should be extras. And at this point, I had no idea what an extra was. I kind of had an idea. You're in the background of films and whatever, but I'd never been on a film set. Never considered, I didn't even know there was a job in film, right? Yeah. I used to watch movies, but I never read into it. I used to enjoy movies. I loved them. I didn't think that's an actor doing that job and I could be that.
Yeah.
No idea. I just watched the movie and I was like, that was epic, and moved on.
Because otherwise you would be gay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Forbidden zone.
And I didn't want to get bullied, man. So we walked out. There's 5 of us. We walked into the village hall. And there was one woman on a computer, and behind her was like thousands of World War II costumes, World War I costumes. And we said, hey, do you need any extras? And she was like, stopped what she was doing. She was like, yeah, yeah, we need extras. How did you find us? I mean, this is in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
And we said, oh, we live here. Like, we're literally like down the
That's
road.
so cool.
Like, if you get a drop out at like 6 a.m, if you just give us a call, we'll be here.
And who was with you? It was just you and
Me
who?
and literally like 4 like rugby boys, like 4
right.
buddies. Like, we all just lived in the village.
You're like, hey, yo, hey, yeah, you need some extras, yo.
We play rugby.
Yeah, and then turn to each other, high five. Yeah, bro, sick.
Any girls here? That was pretty much us. So she was like, cool, you go upstairs and go up to hair and makeup and we'll just test your hair. And so we all walked up, and it's so funny how things happen. Like, I think
That's
it's
crazy.
so like serendipitous how like things all come together. Because if this one thing didn't happen, I might have never got into the business, right? We all walked up. I think it was 4 or 5 of us. I couldn't afford a haircut at the time. Literally didn't have a job. It was the summer before university. I just didn't have my haircut for like 4 weeks or whatever.
So you had long hair.
So everyone had the very short back and sides, like shaved short back and sides at that point. That was like very in, like the skin fade.
Those who could afford it.
Yeah. And the haircut was like £5.
Yeah.
Like our
You were
barber
very
chose.
poor.
Yeah, dude, I just didn't have a haircut. I just didn't have a fiver spare. So I had like kind of scraggy hair, and all the other boys were like skin fade, and they were like, we can't use these boys because they've got skin fades and it's not in this era.
Yeah, of course.
But this guy, we can cut his hair into the World War One kind of era. And so they let all 4 of them go and kept me.
Oh
and they were all like, oh, he always falls in shit.
Hey, wanker. You're so gay, bro.
They were like, he always
Extras
falls
is gay.
They're like, he always falls in shit and comes out smelling of roses.
And we didn't want it anyways.
Yeah, I didn't want it anyways, man. This is bullshit. So I stayed and I was like, that's cool. And so I stayed and I did like the whole summer doing this extra. I was like German soldiers and English soldiers and doing loads of extra work.
And you got some good money as well, because it's like,
Got some money.
dude, like you can finally afford a haircut.
Finally, well, they were cutting my hair. And after that haircut, she said, oh, just this is the slip and then just invoice us £50. And I was like,
£15 per day.
50.
50 pounds a day.
Yeah, I was like,
How much for doing what?
you cut my hair and I get paid. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, what? And then she was like, you got to go for a costume fitting. Like, we'll pay you for that too. And I was just like,
Oh, that was just for the hair, makeup, and then for costume. But then, what was the rate per day?
oh, dude, it was like
100 something, right?
Yeah, 100, maybe 150 quid. No,
Yeah.
just like I literally walked in, I had my haircut within that hour.
Got 50
And I
quid.
got 50 quid and I couldn't afford a haircut. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I was like, this business is epic. And then they, yes,
Free haircut.
free haircuts. I get paid for haircuts.
Paid haircut.
Paid haircuts. I was like, what is going on? It was like mind blowing. And then they fed me. It was like a catering van. I was like,
Did they pay you for that too?
yeah. Like each bean is £1. You know, a tin of baked beans.
Oh God.
So I was just like, whoa. And so I did this. And then she said at the time, she was like, oh, have you got any more mates who wants to be extras? And another mate of mine called Oliver Ashton
Also couldn't afford a haircut.
also had scraggy hair. So I was like, no, because she like needs to have like longer hair so we can cut it. I was like, yeah, Ollie Ashton's got long hair. And I was like, I called him up and me and him spent the summer together doing extra work and we had a blast. Imagine like 2 19-year-olds had no idea about movies and we're just working on this huge movie set like
And making all that dough.
across the street from us. Like the carrot fields that we used to play in. Because Welbeck Estate used to be an army college and then they moved to Loughborough. Now it's Loughborough College.
Wow. What year was that? Do you remember? So you were 19. So now you are 30.
It must have been like...
How old you know?
29 now.
You're not even 30. Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
30 November.
Such a baby.
I know.
Wow.
I need to enjoy it while I can.
Crazy. So what year was that then?
So that might have been like 2012, 2013, maybe. I can't remember. But I'll check if you want me to.
I just moved to UK. I moved to UK in 2011.
Wow. Really?
Yeah,
it might have been
from
around that
Canada.
point. I can't remember when I went to uni, but I just remember being at uni and I did a short film and it's the first IMDb credit and it's 2014.
Yeah.
So it must have been the summer before that, like 2013 maybe.
Wow.
So we did that and me and my mate Ollie were just like having a blast. Like we'd stay at mine, we'd be up all night, like going out partying, then we'd wake up, go to set at like 6 a.m. There'd be scenes where we were like army soldiers, like dead. So we'd just fall asleep. And then we wake up and it's lunch and we got paid and we're like, this is sick.
Trust me, where's the stunt guys done that a lot of times.
Yeah.
You can imagine getting stunt rate and you're just lying there.
And sometimes we're like bandaged up, like all over our head and like an eye there. So we're just falling asleep in these like
How
beds
could
in the
it be
elephant huts.
so much fun at that age to do that, man?
So like,
That's crazy.
we used to play in the army college and all the like went on all the kind of the combat kind of equipment that they had at the army college and all the fields and everything. Like now it was like a World War One kind of set as far as you could see with the eye. So I'm going on this in full costume, hundreds of extras, loads of film crew, World War One trucks, you know, like kind of medical huts.
You
like
have to send me some photos from that. You must have some, right?
No, I don't think I do.
Oh, dude.
I mean, I could show you the film, but I don't think I even took a phone on set because I was like this.
Okay.
What is going on? This is crazy. I was just so, you know, when you were blown away.
Yeah.
And you see like Kit Harington, Alicia Vikander and all this sort of stuff. And the cameras and stuff. So as soon as I got to university, all I Googled was how to become an actor. That's all, every lecture I was just like discovering how to become an actor. I remember I ran into the kitchen at home and my dad and my stepmom was there and I was like, I know what I'm going to do.
Wow.
I'm going to be an actor. And they were just like, really? Like, yeah, actor? Why? I was like, I'm going to be an actor. This is what I'm going to do. This is my calling. So I went to university and I was studying sports science, but I just hated it. All I wanted to do was be an actor.
Why the fuck did you study sports science if you knew that you want to be an actor?
Because I'd already applied, got in, I'd studied sport at BTEC, I'd paid for my digs. You know when you do all that setup? So I was like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a year, study sports science, see if I actually want to do it. So many people like ditch their whole lives and do something. They're like, oh, I don't like it. So I was like, I'm just going to, on the side, I'm going to discover if I can do this, if I want to do it. Because I had no idea how to get into it. I had no like one to call.
So do one thing and then on the side discover whether you can do the thing that you were actually very passionate about.
I just was like, let's see if I actually want to do it. Because you know when people say they want to do something and then they realize how hard it is and they're like, this is tough. I was like, let me see if I've got the minerals to go through it. Because everyone said
it's good, great to have the B plan. So if the acting wouldn't work out, so you would have something to fall back on.
I quit uni.
Well,
after 2 years.
I guess like at the beginning, that's the thought you had. But then if you realize you hate something so much, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, I didn't at first. I was still enjoying uni. I quite enjoyed the course. It was year 2 that I was like, no, I'm out of this. I think it took me a year to get the bug. And also like everyone on set, like I think there was like 5th AD who was dealing with the extras. I was like, how do you become an actor? And she kind of laughed because she was like, you've got to be on Spotlight, you've got to get an agent, you've got to go to drama school, you've got to get a show reel, you got to do all these things.
But it's so like, if she would, was she condescending and kind of like, oh, whatever?
No, she was just like, I think she was laughing because she was like, this kid is so new. I've got to kind of tell him exactly how.
But that's the thing, like you're so young. Obviously, your life is all ahead of you. So she should just be, you totally should. Like, you need to do this and this and this and this.
Yeah, I think it's because I had no idea and I was on set. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, what do you do to do this? So I took a year at sports science doing that, but I was constantly trying to figure it out and I had no idea. So I was asking loads of people. And then I carried on doing extra work. And every extra job I did, I said to all the other extras, like, how do you guys become actors? Like, what? Because they're all, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Extras, the show?
Well, about 80% of extras, they're quite interesting people.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like,
wow.
Well, if you've seen Extras, the show.
The show. Yeah. I mean, you've seen Extras. I know I've seen the real extras.
Yeah.
And I've been one of them because for stunts, we needed 60 days on a set as an extra.
Oh, really?
Jesus Christ.
Did you really?
Yeah, and I really struggled to get the days and as extra. So I worked in this one Bollywood film. And I can't tell you this now, just someone can listen to this. Anyways,
Cut.
But there was, it was tough, and the only things I could get was in Bollywood productions. It was
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the show Extras, Ricky Gervais's Extras,
I've seen a little bit of it, but
perfect.
I think as soon as I started watching it, I was like, okay, why am I watching something when I know exactly how it is? Like all these stories what extras tell to each other, they're going to be doing this, they're going to be doing this. I think my favorite thing about extras is when like extra people who do this job, they would go and they were like, oh, they saw half of my face in this one shot. I should get like extra pay for it. I should get like adjustment.
But that's why the show is good, because it's so funny, because you just feel like you can relate to it.
Yeah.
And like all the extras are competing about like who had a line on what. They're like, oh, I had a line with Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no. How did you do that? And I remember like with me and Ollie, I mean, it's so mad. It's literally like lining cattle up to like kill them. Like we lined up like all the extras, like loads of German extras on Testament of Youth. And me and my mate Oliver Ashton, I wanted to be an actor and he wasn't that bothered.
Yeah.
And we all lined up and they were choosing someone to do a scene with Alicia Vikander, someone with a big wound. And she would treat the wound and he had to like turn around and like smile at her and then turn back round. And he got chosen. And I was so jealous.
Oh, no.
And everyone was so jealous. I was like, He doesn't even want to be an actor. And he's still like, I get to do a scene with Lucy Vikander.
He's not even good.
Yeah, he's not even good, man.
Come on, man.
I want
This
to be an
is
actor,
bullshit.
man. Yeah, I want to do that part. It's like no lines, like literally doesn't matter. And he got to do it. He was in the makeup trailer for like 3 hours, getting this massive wound on his back. And then he got down to the scene, and we were still in all those beds, like in the medical bay beds. And he got chosen to do this part. And he couldn't hear the director because his like ear was on the pillow. And the director's like screaming direction at him. And he's like, smile, smile, smile. And he was just like, I can't hear you. I'm sorry, I can't hear anything. And he's like proper fucking it up. It was so bad. I was like, wait, he's not even an actor. He's not even an actor. He's shit. Yeah, he can't even take direction.
Get out of here.
Yeah. It was so, he got cut that scene. Because it was so bad. It was, me and him laugh at it to this day. Like, we're still best mates. And we just laughed so hard at like that because it was so awkward. He was like, smile. And he was like, huh? And then like back down. It was like the worst. Oh, it was so funny. But yeah, so that's kind of how I got into it. And then I went full bore like after a year. Again, I'd already signed on to the next year of digs. So I'd already like paid the next lot of digs in the year 2. Mm-hmm. And by that time, I'd discovered that, you might need to go to drama school. And then I realized that you only get 4 years of funding from the government. Yeah. And I'd used 2 years of my funding for my course. So I only had 2 years left. Stuff. Yeah. So if I left and went to drama school, which is unlikely you get in because you have to pay £80 per audition for each drama school. So you have to audition for all of them. And it might be $1,000 to audition for them all. If you actually do get in, then I'd have to fund the third year. And like, we're all working class. Like,
how much was it?
I think it was like, wow, what is it now? Like
$9,000. That's
grand.
What I know.
Oh, 9 grand.
Per year, yeah.
Maybe 10, 11 grand.
Yeah.
And then you digs, and it was, if I got into one in London, that'd be like paying for London. Whilst my dad was just like, dude, we can't afford this. Yeah. He was like, if you want to go, you can figure it out. What about
loans?
Well,
it was student loans.
I'm 19 years old. I didn't think about that, did I?
I'm stupid.
Yeah, I was like,
I have cash.
Dude, I play rugby. What are you talking about? I don't know math.
Oh, God.
Yeah, student loans. I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It cuts you off after 4 years.
So you can't.
They only fund you for 4 years.
Yeah.
So you get
when I thought you said funding, like they actually can give you like that's fully paid, like a budget. When you get in the budget, like that's at least what we had the system in Latvia. So it was like if you are high enough as you. If you're getting in university, when you do your exams, so if you're they have like sometimes 50, sometimes 100 budget spots, so that you don't have to pay anything.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And so like when I was getting in, like in studying business in Latvia, it was super in demand. So there was like 500 people tried to get this one, like they only like 50 spots. So it was a huge competition, whatever. But those who get in, but Latvia was so cheap. We paid like £250 a year or something.
Wow.
Like, we were really cheap.
When you said loans, I thought you meant like a bank loan.
Which was like non-percentage thing. So basically, if you take the loan, so they would never increase the percentage, and you can pay it in 10 years, something like that.
Oh, so
I would assume you guys would have.
To my knowledge, this might have changed, and this might not have even been true when I was there. I just heard about this. You only get 4 years of funding loans, 4 years worth of loans from the government. So they'll give you 4 years loan, so you get to fail 1 year. So if you've got a 3-year BH honours, is that what you call it? BS honours?
You're asking me?
I didn't get mine. Look at us, two dumbos.
Hey,
BS honours. Honours degree.
Okay.
It's a 3-year degree. You get 4 years of funding, so you can fail one year.
Yeah.
That's the idea. So I'd used 2 years of my funding loans. So I only had 2 years left.
And now what do you do?
so I would have had to fund myself the third year if I went to drama school. So I was like, I can't afford this. So I quit. I stayed in Leeds for a year working in a restaurant, saving up to go to London. Wow. And then everyone was like, don't go to London. It's too expensive. You'll be straight back. Like loads of actors in Leeds were saying, yeah, we came straight back. Like, it's impossible. You can't afford it there. Yeah. And I was like, I don't care. I'm going to go do it. So after a year saving up, I went to London, struggled through London for like 3 years. And then like COVID hit. And then I spent 3 years with my girlfriend's parents.
Oh, God.
It's crazy. So it's been
super fresh. You're such a freshie.
Oh, man, I'm a freshie. Like literally the last breath was my first lead. And I was like, do you know what? I've been in the industry for 10 years, but it feels like I've just started.
Yeah.
Because so much stuff happened. Because it took me 3 years to get an agent. It took me 6 years to get a speaking part on TV.
Wow.
Because it was so slow. Because I didn't know what to do. So I just was bumbling around London like, anyone got any acting jobs? Anyone hire a Northern lad? And it just took me so long to like build up. You know, I was just doing student shorts, and then like 3 months later, you get it back and it's a piece of crap. And then you do another student short. Hopefully that one's a bit better, and they don't send it you. And it's like to get a show, because everyone's like, you need a show reel, and I was like, it's so hard to get a show reel because no one wants to cast you because you've got nothing to show, and big old catch-22. I like to get on Spotlight. At the time, I needed 4 credits because you can either get on if you got 4 credits or if you're a student. Yeah. And I was like, well, I'm not a student, so I need 4 credits, but then I couldn't get cast because I had nothing to show. So it's a difficult, long process, and then COVID hit and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's all, and it's crazy because I just said to my girlfriend yesterday, I was like, isn't it mad that I've got 2 movies coming out, or one's out that I'm like the lead actor in, and we're like post-strike. Where like, you would have thought you would got offers from that, you know, and get like kind of more work from that. But you're like, it's so dead right now. Yeah. Like there's not much for us. There's not much going on. I don't know about stunt guys. What you're working?
I'm working. No, in industry, in general, industry is very slow right now.
Quiet.
It's very, very quiet.
Very quiet. So it's a weird time.
So for everyone to understand, we are shooting, this is right now August the 10th, is it? What is it? Yeah, it's the 10th. August the 10th.
Wow. Time flies.
2024. Hopefully we release this podcast in this year. But
next year.
Yeah, but for people to know, it's been quite slow. I know a lot of stunt guys who are like literally doing like landscaping and stuff.
Yeah.
And
It's crazy.
So on the same time, I wanted to ask about, so what have you thought about having like this kind of a B plan, other thing what to do? Like you mentioned before that, the class clown and stuff. Have you thought about doing stand-up comedy? Has that ever interested you?
No.
Never interested you?
I would hate to do stand-up. A couple of my buddies, when I got to London, did stand-up to experience kind of bombing.
Misery.
Yeah. Experience dread.
It is tough. It's very tough. But then at the same time, again, it's like the question whether that's something what you would like to do. Yeah. Right? It's like I've done like maybe 4 or 5 gigs here, like the stand-up, and it's very tough in London. London, and the first time when I went here, the guy who was organizing, he was already like published. He had his special on Netflix or whatever, and he told me straight away, you want to try and make London, forget about it. London and New York, 2 toughest spots to do it.
Really?
If you want to actually make real money and do whatever, go up north, go somewhere like where it's not as crazy competitive as it is here in London, because there's so many people just going to do it for free just to come and do whatever. Yeah. But what about other stuff like thinking maybe creating some kind of a different productions, I don't know, podcasts or not, maybe some sketches, stuff like that.
Yeah. So back onto the stand-up, I was too scared of that. I was way too scared. I was like, that's just not my thing. Like I'd love to do a bit of theatre, but I never kind of went down the theatre route either. Yeah. But since I started writing. Right. I've always been writing since. Just because at the start I was like, oh, I'm not getting the short films, because when I started out I was doing short films and I just didn't like them. I was like, these are rubbish. So I started writing my own short films and I was sending them to writers that I'd worked with on short, saying, can you rip this apart, teach me? Then I fell in love with the craft, so I started reading books and I started training basically how to be a screenwriter. And then I started to fall in love with it really and stopped writing for myself. So now I'm like I've just been signed as a writer and director. So I just got an agent with that, so that's cool. A couple of years ago, I started doing voiceover. I was like, oh, voiceover's cool. I'd love to do like cartoons, animations. So I got a voiceover agent. So the writing stuff's cool because I did a couple of shorts, was on movies like, The Last Breath. And I said to the director, I've got a couple of shorts and like, we've actually got the funding for them. Like we managed to fund them. Like I'm set to direct, but I'm so scared. Like I didn't want to direct them. I just wanted someone else to direct. But the directors that I'd worked with, they were always so busy on their own projects. Yeah. They were, they'd drop out for a commercial or they'd, fine. So they were just like, just do it yourself. And I was like, nah, I don't know where to put the lights. And they were just like, don't worry about that.
We'll figure out.
Hire a really good DOP, hire good HODs. Yeah. They'll sort those teams out and you just tell a story. And I was like, oh, okay. And I went and did 2 shorts and I absolutely loved it. And it just wasn't as bad as I thought. I mean, it is hard, but the like they said, just hire a good team and you kind of be okay. So I did the 2 shorts and then we started to straight away develop the first one into a feature. Because I'd already been writing features for years before that. So I had like a pile, like 6 features ready to go. Oh, wow. And like TV pilots and like 20 shorts. I just was writing for fun. So I knew how to write scripts. And so I was like, straight away, I'd started developing that into a feature. And then I started pitching it to like Signature and like people we started to work with, like Ben, and started to get feedback.
He's referring. He's a producer also for Take Cover.
Yes,
when we went yesterday on the premiere.
Yes.
Hey, you need to tell them more. You can't just say Ben.
Ben, yeah,
pointing at me and say Ben. You know Ben. Everyone knows Ben.
Sorry, so Ben is
what's his last name?
Ben Jakes.
Yeah, it also helps, right?
Yeah, Ben Jakes. Because
I'm really lovely guy. We should shout out to Ben Jakes.
Ben Jakes.
He's sick, dude.
Sick dude. I'm sometimes don't know if they want to be known on. You know what I mean? Like I don't name.
I don't
people.
care. I just want to give them
them a shout out.
Good shout out and
Ben Jakes,
positive energy.
Solid dude, head of films at Signature, big distribution company in the UK. So obviously I'd worked with him on Take Cover.
Yeah.
They bought The Last Breath, and then I did one shot with them. That's how I got Take Cover. So I'd done 3 movies with them. So I had a good relationship. So I pitched them this script, and I was like, we can't do anything with this unless you've got a name attached. So we were like, no one's going to want to do this. And also I wrote the script like super low budget, all set in cars, like a super slow burn crime thriller, all about these criminals and police officers in cars, all heading to the same location. I was like, no, cheap, 5 actors, 3 cars, like we can do this on super low budget. But as time went on, we ended up getting a name attached. We ended up getting into the Birmingham Film Festival. I think they only select 50 filmmakers a year, and I got in and I was like, holy crap. I can't believe they've picked me. I was thinking, I'm never going to get in. And at the Birmingham Film Festival is like Paramount, Lionsgate, like Sky, and you have 10-minute meetings with them and you just pitch.
Wow.
And then from that, we got really good feedback, and it just grew and grew. Because then I was calling directors I'd worked with saying, look, we've got this far. What do I do? Like, we were going to make it on 100 grand, 150 grand. They're like, don't tell Lionsgate that. They're like, don't say that in your pitch, because they can't make movies like that. They're all with
it's
like
small for them, right?
pacts, APA, like they have to be the proper rates. So like, this is the budgets you should be looking at.
Yeah.
So we got loads of advice. We got line producer on. So it's grown and grown and grown. So actually now we're trying to make our own movie. So I've got 2 in development. One is The Drop, that's grown, more than I expected. And then if that doesn't take off, because it takes so long to find the finances right for these movies with a name and properly. So if that doesn't take off, we've got a micro budget movie that we could go and make on our own on a Kickstarter. As a first time filmmaker, like one location, really interesting. So that's that. So I do voiceover. I'm a writer director. Just been signed for that, so that's
dancer,
cool.
bartender,
caterer, yeah, cook for my missus. So I'm trying to keep busy, but it's like you said, in times like this when the acting's not big,
you need to do whatever.
Gotta just graft. Actors lose their minds when there's like a strike on.
And it's not just actors, stunties. I know stunties who you get depressed, you get all those things. Like for me, it's as soon as I don't work stunts, so like I have podcasts, I have other things, or I just fuck off to Bali and do some businesses there, whatever.
You have to.
Listen, let's have a little break. We smashed almost like an hour already.
Wow.
Boosh.
Blah, blah, blah. Renars podcast.
Good rap.
No, she's good.
She's good.
She does all the checks.
Okay.
But I didn't send her this because I was like...
We're live now. We're back.
Because it's you.
Who is good? Who you were talking about?
You're good.
She is good. I'm good.
Yeah, PR agent. She's great.
PR is the best. What's her name?
PR is the best.
What's her name?
Jade East PR.
Yay!
That's the company, Jade East PR, but her name's Olivia Chang.
Olivia Chang.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I hope I didn't say that wrong. So what I'm trying to say is I didn't need to, like, normally she checks all that. So because you came direct, I was like, of course I'll do this.
Yeah. No, it's good. I get what you're saying.
I'll turn up. I'll see you there.
I get you saying, but still in future, because you're going to be a big star. Everyone knows that you're going to be a big star.
Hopefully then
if I said that you're going to be a big star, you're definitely going to be a big star.
Yeah, but then hopefully she just checks it. And I'm like,
okay.
Do you know what I mean?
You just arrive. Hello,
mate, you're right. But I've heard it before where people are like, on Smartless.
Hey.
Dude, on Smartless, this dude came on and he just went, sorry, what is this? And they were like, what do you mean? He was like, no one told me what this is.
Really?
And he was like, it's a podcast, Smartless. And he was like, oh, cool. It's just like, is it like video? And they're like, no, it's just
audio.
Just the mics. Like you just talk and we're just going to do an interview. Like anything you don't want to say, we can cut it. And he's like, cool, okay, yeah. He had no idea what he just, someone's emailed him saying, can you be at this place at this time? And he just turned up.
But it's great. I mean, like now people know more about what podcasts are and all that stuff. So far I got 2 people whose agents messaged me who saw my podcast.
Oh,
and
really?
They're like, we want to be. One of them I said yes. The second one I said
Why?
no.
Why?
Because I was like, no, for me, the thing is like, I want to have people on my podcast, people who I know.
Right.
People who I know, who I think are cool, who I had the connection. I don't want to just have like,
Randomos.
And maybe one day in the future, it's like, like Joe Rogan. Hail Joe Rogan. Woo. That's, if I'm very interested in certain subjects and I would like to invite them and, that kind of stuff would be great.
Right.
But so far, I'm very lucky and fortunate working in the industry where I meet people like you who are cool and fun, and then I can just ask them, face to face is like that I want them over. That's it.
Love that.
Yeah. Okay, so the first half we talked about you getting into acting, and then you ended like with the writing and all that stuff. And this is now the about writing. That's a very interesting one. How from the idea, from the writing, then it becomes what it becomes, what people see on a screen. And so often, and probably you can relate to that as well, when people read certain books, right? And then, okay, this movie's coming out based on this book. And every time, and most of the times when you watch a movie, you get disappointed because you envisioned it's going to be different, right? And all of us, each of us, fantasy and imagination works differently, how we would see that on the screen. And I find that a really like crazy challenge. But do you have any examples where you would say like, wow, that director, or like, because obviously it's a book, but then it's a screenwrite, right? So you have to, how do you get a screenplay? No, sorry. So from the book, before it becomes a movie, what happens in between?
What do you mean? Like, how does that process work?
Yeah.
Well, I've never like optioned a book, but from what I've read, I read a lot of books. I mean, when you asked what my favorite books were, like, there's a lot of books that I read that are based on kind of someone's journey into that. So, like, I've read a lot of like screenwriters' journeys, which is super interesting for me. Like, I read, do you know Beckham Woods, they're like a duo, screenwriting duo, two friends who work together, and they did Quiet Place. Do you know Quiet Place?
Oh man, we're gonna be a lot of questions in that direction, and I would be like, nope, I don't know.
You never seen Quiet Place? You've heard of it?
Quiet Place was that horror film?
Yeah, it's like a smash hit horror. It's like
it's about when we were actually talking about that when someone was talking about when this lady steps on a nail.
Yeah,
and then she cannot make. Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah,
I love it. Epic. Yeah. So they've got a book. They just journaled through their time about how they sold A Quiet Place to Paramount, whatever. But so I don't know, don't take this for gospel, but how I imagine it works, studios and people, directors, they option a book. So you can buy the option on a book, and then obviously you can hire a screenwriter to do the screenplay on the book and get it into production.
Right.
But that option runs out of time. So you have like a year option and it runs out. And it depends how big the book is on how much the option is. So, if it's someone like I know and there's no one chasing that book, I could buy that option for £1 if we agree on that.
Right.
Because he just wants his book to, we've done that before. We've been like, your book ain't selling.
Gotcha,
Would you sell it for £1? If the book gets made into a movie, then you can have more royalties and stuff.
How many cases are heard there that the movie got way more successful than the book, and vice versa? Book is really successful, movie is like, yeah.
There's probably quite a few. I don't know. I mean, there's just literally just another one came out with Blake Lively. I mean, that's probably a big one right now for audiences to like depict if the book was better than the movie. It's normally the book. Everyone thinks the books are better.
Right.
I think. I mean,
that makes sense.
I mean, you kind of always hear it. Like I read Scorsese. I can't remember the name of it now. Scorsese and DiCaprio's last movie about the Osage killings. I can't remember the name of the movie. Do you remember that? It just came out. Epic movie, like 3 hours long. I read the book because I had heard about it. Like normally you see it in the papers. Like you see it in Hollywood Reporter that they're going to make a movie like a year before it even goes in production. So I read the books just to have interest. And I read the book. It's amazing. And then I watched the movie and I was like, yeah, it's epic. And like DiCaprio's amazing. De Niro's amazing. Scorsese's Scorsese. But they missed a lot of information out.
Yeah,
like that happens a lot. You got to try and squeeze it in. Because there were certain things I was like, I know what's going on because there was a queue of people, and in the movie it doesn't explain why there's a white man with every kind of Osage resident, and it doesn't explain that. But in the book, it was explaining that they need a white man to sign the signature for them to take money out because they kind of got rich through oil money. I don't know if you know about that story. It's a mad story. Kind of these Osage people kind of just lived on oil, basically oil land, and they discovered it and they got super rich. And then the white people came in and were like, "You guys have got too much money," and there was like loads of people, like loads of murders.
I'm guessing this is in the States.
Yeah. This is in I can't remember where it was.
Yeah,
it's an epic story. Mad. But this thing, it's just they're never quite as good because the book just goes into so much more detail and you have time and you have more pages. So the books are always better. I mean, look at Harry Potter. I mean, Harry Potter is epic, but everyone's like, the books are kind of better.
I tried to read Harry Potter a long time ago, but my English wasn't sophisticated enough. I couldn't understand most of it.
But you know what? I'll go back on my word there because I literally read Drive. So have you seen Drive with Ryan Gosling?
Heard of it.
I love that movie so much. I went and read the book. I didn't know it was a novel. So I read that and I was like, oh, I know, I like the movie more. And then same with Fight Club. Fight Club is one of my favorite films.
Okay, I know Fight Club. Finally, I can yes, I know that movie.
The button, press the button, quick.
It's always fun to have a podcast and one guy's like, have you not seen this one? I'm like, oh man, it's amazing. It's like, no, I haven't seen it. What about this one? Haven't you seen it? No, I haven't seen this.
Press the button,
it's like,
man.
good shot.
So Fight Club, the book was so strange. Like it's such a mad book. You have to you have to probably read it 2 or 3 times. But again, I like the movie better than the book. So there are instances for both. I don't know. I'm not well educated on that because I've never, optioned a proper book. I like I said, I optioned one for £1 and was like, give us the option and we'll try and make this, and it never went,
Regarding your education, so did you end up going to the acting school?
No.
Nothing?
No, I wish I did.
Wow.
I would have loved to have gone. But I did.
Is it too late now? Or you take courses or something? You can take those.
I did loads of kind of like night schools and loads of courses and loads of 2-week screenwriting course or a 2-week screen acting course or I did part-time drama school for 3 months.
Gotcha.
So now I don't know if it makes sense because if I went to a proper drama school for 3 years, I'd be out of the industry for the 3 years. And everyone who goes to drama school goes, dude, you're fine. Like you're in a good position.
Yeah.
Like you're quite far ahead now. Like you don't.
I think it's important just to maintain growing, obviously. So whenever you have a moment to have one-on-one or whatever that kind of stuff training.
Yeah, well, I definitely want to invest in a coach soon because I had a coach for auditions. I've got a voice coach for accents. So I have those things when I need them, but I think what I would like next, if I got a movie that paid decent enough, to have a coach go through everything with
100%,
me, like a proper acting coach.
Because then also you can show all the stuff you've done so far already. So they can have a look, give you notes and ideas how to change things and stuff. Because
I've had coaches for auditions and it helps so much because they just have a different. They just bring so much out of you that you didn't know. And you have a kind of, sometimes you're quite narrow-minded.
100%.
And then they're like, what about this? And you're like, I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah, because my example is I had a kind of one-on-one coach and going to this place. I already forgot the name of it. It's 3 years ago. I used to go there when I used to live in East London, right? So now it would be crazy travel for me. And we had this from LA, not LA, New York, very tough guy, black dude, American, who was our coach. And this one time, I remember I was doing the monologue, right? And I did the monologue for him, and it was from American History X. Is it American History X?
I've not seen it, but it's on the list.
It's a classic. Oh my God, it's crazy. So there's this monologue where the guy just got killed. This young boy, teenager, gets killed, and then he speaks in his head as he just getting killed, whatever. And there's this monologue. And I did it, and he's like, yeah, Renars, pretty good. But we're going to try something. It's he takes me to a different room, puts me in a chair. He's like, put your hands behind the chair, pretend that you are tied up, and now pretend that this is your last thing you're ever going to say before you get killed because you were in a jail and you are, what's they called, when they kill you. What's it called?
On death row.
Yeah,
there we go. We got it together.
Death row, yeah. And this is the last thing you're ever going to say. Dude.
Changed.
I was crying, snot was coming out my nose.
Whoa.
I was just because And it really struck me, like, because I was like thinking about all the things I would like to say to my friends, to my relatives, to my loved ones, right? And that's the words all I have left.
Mad.
And there was points where I wouldn't even say, I was just squealing, like, just like, you know, and it's so difficult to explain that, like, I would never think of doing that stuff. But then I thought about, this is my last moment ever.
Yeah.
And then he applauded to me.
Wow.
And I never seen him doing anything like that.
Wow.
And then he's like, that's what I'm talking about. And
Amazing.
I was like, fuck. So those kind of things, like when we earlier, you know, off cameras, we were talking about, like, I was saying kind of the reasons I'm not pursuing acting, whatever, is because of all of that. But like those kind of things, when I look back and I did that training, I was like, that's what acting is amazing. Because you can just go in those hidden pockets of your own subconscious and just like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, so, it's mad.
I do have respect towards that kind of stuff, and
there
it's beautiful.
Mad times in acting, yeah.
So that's about you training. And what I want to ask you, like, what do you think about, there's some people who say, like, if you're a good actor, you don't need a school. If you're a shitty actor, school is not going to help you. Maybe guide you, but, you know, what do you think about that?
I mean, I definitely think there is like a natural ability in acting. I think like some guys just come out of drama school and they get their big movie and you're just like, how have you done? And they're just amazing. I get it. Like it took me a while to get it, and I definitely needed training. Like definitely need training. Like when I first started, I sucked. I was so bad. Like,
I sucked so good.
I sucked. I was just so delusional that this was going to work out.
To get some movies, you need to suck good. Oh. That's why, like,
don't reveal my biggest secrets.
Damn it.
No one's meant to know that.
What was Ben's last name?
No comment. But man, look, some people have just got it. They just go on screen, they don't care. And do you know what I found out of all of it? You know, most of it for me was confidence. Like I didn't really have the confidence to.
You strike me like very non-confident guy.
I know. I'm so shy.
So shy.
But like the confidence to let yourself go. Like you see it so much. Actors are just holding back. You can see it in the performance. You're like, dude, let go. You're holding back, and it's because they're scared of failing. They're scared of looking silly. They're scared of people laughing at them. Like, oh, that was a bit weird, or that was a bit out there, or that was overacting. So everything's a bit too wooden. So they're trying to be too subtle and too wooden. And it just like, I can see it. I think that's why drama schools. You know, you have to be an animal for an hour. You have to, you know, pick an animal, and everyone said it in their classes. They've been like, yeah, I remember doing drama school and I was an animal. I was like a gorilla for 4 hours. And you're like, so to try and get you out of that stupidness like that, you know, to get you out of that restriction of yourself where you feel silly. I remember I was like, we had to hug each other in drama school. I'll say drama school, part-time drama school.
Yeah.
And roll around all the way to the end and then roll around. And there was like, why are we doing this? And she was like, well, it's just stupid, isn't it? It's like you got to get yourself out of that feeling weird that we're hugging, touching, and like rolling around together. It's just like trying to get out of that, and it's true. It's like trying to get into that childlike. I mean, that's why kids are great.
Yeah,
because
they
just
a
don't care.
lot of kid actors, they're good as when they're kids and they grow up and they're like, there's
because
nothing.
Adults, I don't know what it is, culture, society, we just start to get a bit more reserved in everything as we get older.
I definitely remember I had that moment because when I did my theater stuff, I also did a lot of public speaking in between. And when I say public speaking, it was more like public poetry reading in front of people, whatever. And I remember there was age of 13, 14 when I had this breaking point. All of a sudden, I got very self-conscious, and I was shy and all that. And it took me like maybe 4 or 5 years to go back to like, again, not giving a fuck. Because right now, I'm honestly like, you know, stuff what I've done in the past, I mentioned I've done stripping, go-go dancing, all sorts of shit on the stage, and now I do stand-up. And it is weird when I bomb. I can feel I'm sweating. I don't feel comfortable, but like it's not gonna hold me back to not come back on the stage, because 100%. That feeling is also pretty good to feel it. Understand that you are not the fucking greatest man in the world. Like you need sometimes you're gonna bomb. So but my problem is that I'm too confident.
Right.
And I get myself in trouble, even like fucking on set on the stunts or whatever. I just talk shit all the time. Next thing you know, I'm in trouble.
Don't let them dampen your
I said
confidence,
Jack
mate.
said it's okay.
Yeah, mate. Don't dampen him. Don't pull him down. Let him be who he wants to be, man. Mate, it's such an interesting question. We could talk about it for hours because that is such an interesting question. Is it a natural ability or can it be taught? I think it's a mix, and I don't think it's just one thing or the other. There are people who are naturally great, you know, but then there's other things like everyone can learn an accent. It's just the way it's just muscles in the mouth. It's just how you move your mouth, and like you can get an accent coach and they can teach you that. But then there's like life experience. There's like, can you emit that feeling, that emotion, that truth? Like,
but also that I was thinking like that the society go by these certain rules. So if you go totally silly and you are yourself, the question is if the society is going to accept you. If the viewer is going to be like, oh yeah, he's just silly and he's himself. So and then they see that as overdoing it. So it's not only like you being yourself and like, oh yeah, you know, I'm just doing because I'm feeling like. But it's more like what they're gonna take and how they're gonna accept it, right?
That is
so
true.
because that is going back to your like when you were fitting in your environment when you were a kid. You know, you did your blue shooting out of the cannon thing, and all of a sudden you're gay and get beaten up.
yeah,
So they are your society around you, right? Obviously, they don't represent everybody, but like they do represent, you know, that age group and whatever, and that you have to fit in that stuff. So you want to fit in that, you have to be a rugby player who's they suck, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. It's always about who is in the receiving end, because that's where, you know, how they compare the music in the past when like Freddie Mercury, he would be writing this beautiful poetry and the music made sense and like the lyrics made sense. And then we have umbrella, Ella, someone literally has a seizure there, right? And everyone is listening to it. It's a great.
And you're like,
and they would have like 5 producers, 7 writers or whatever, and then Freddie Mercury did his own thing, and then my question is like, so where is the problem?
Yeah.
Is it the problem because it's a shitty song and writing, or who is on the receiving end? So obviously on the receiving end, they enjoy the Ella, and they buy it and they pay for it. That's it.
Yeah.
So as long as the demand is there, that's what is going to be there. And that's very sad. Because
true.
you, for example, if they would tell you as an actor who needs to feed your family, needs to do all those things, they give you, okay, you have this project, you're going to be playing this stupid, over-the-top, whatever thing you're never going to believe in and you don't like this part, but you're going to make this amount of money, or you're going to be like this incredible character which you always wanted to play and going to be fuck all money or whatever. So go figure.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of those dudes who do that, they just take the big fee and then they'll just go off and do an indie project after. They'll be like, we do, I mean, I think Michael Fassbender said it. He said, we do the big stuff like Marvel so that we can afford to go and do those $1.5 million budget movies.
Yeah, but then straight away,
characters.
the people who actually enjoy and want to see your real art gonna say, oh, you just sold your fucking soul. What do you do then?
I mean,
they're going to understand as well. They just need to make some money.
I mean, I think they all get away with it. Michael Fassbender's got away with it. I mean, dude, look at guy who played Christian Bale.
Yeah.
He's like such a good actor.
Yeah, he's insane.
He just did some Marvel thing, and but I think people were like, "What are you doing?" He's like,
"Just
pay me loads of money." I don't care. I think he literally said that. He was like, duh, like millions of pounds.
I need to pay rent.
Like, my best mate was like, have you seen it? He's really bad in it. And I don't think he cares. Yeah, I don't think he cares. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, I would do it. I'd go and make loads of money, and then I'd go off and do a $1 million budget, amazing, interesting crime thriller, you know, with a, like good time. Like Robert Pattinson. Look at Robert Pattinson. He's like Batman, did Harry Potter, Twilight, and then he goes off and does Good Time. Have you seen Good Time? Really interesting movie. It's by the Safdie brothers. Did you know them? They did Uncut Gems.
You keep doing this to me. Like, do you know them? And I'm like, I don't know them. That's where we start.
Good Time is a really cool movie. It's like super low budget. They were like, one of the directors was in the movie and he was holding the boom in New York. Like literally like the sound guy, he's in it, he's directing it with his brother. It's like amazing. But he did that. He was just like, I want to find interesting, cool projects. I don't.
But it's just interesting. I keep thinking about this concept. So that means the majority of the population of the world are quite stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. I was kind of thinking it.
My sister, she used to be a finance director of a television of Latvia, right?
Yeah.
And I would talk to her like, why would you guys show these horrible shows? Like, they're just daft, stupid, whatever. Yeah. And she tells me, listen, do you know what 80%, 90% of people do? Yeah. They do 8 to 5 jobs they hate.
Yeah.
They come home, they open their fucking beer, and they look at this box and just look something very daft and shit or whatever, because they just want to kind of forget about their shit, you know?
I did a show, and I don't really want to say which show it is, but I did a show, and I remember someone saying, because the dialogue was bad, and I was thinking, this is so bad. And I remember someone saying on set, being like, you've got to remember who watches these things. And it's like, they shouldn't have said this, but they were like, it's like council estate people.
Yeah.
Like they're just not as educated as you think they are.
Yeah.
So we're not making this for people who are smart.
Yeah.
We are making, so you've got to remember, like, Umbrella Ella is probably for like 14-year-old girls who just want a catchy tune that's just not that complicated.
True.
You know, it's like there's
they don't
something for
understand
everyone.
that someone intelligent as me
Exactly.
or you.
Yeah. We don't want Umbrella Ella. But like, there's just something.
We
for
need
everyone.
bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
God. But yeah, I mean, there is something for everyone, and it's, you know, I'm not like sitting on a high horse and saying I'm educated and stuff, because I'm not. I'm like fucking working class dude. But some people want a bit more depth or a bit more intricate stories, you know, and I think that's because I've delved into that and like learned about it. You know, it is what it is. There's something for everyone, I think, you know.
And it's one of those, again, like, why some people, again, like, I grew up in a tiny town. Like you said, like, you grew up in a small town. What was the population of your town? Do you remember?
Dude, I'd be able to walk around and count.
What average?
I mean, maybe 50 people.
Are you serious?
It does. I'm talking, you can walk down the street and you can count the houses.
What the hell? It's
There's
like bumfuck village somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
There's no shop.
Oh my God.
Everyone has to drive.
So, and then what was the closest bigger place?
Well, Cookney.
Cookney.
Yeah.
Cockney. Cookney. So how far was Cookney?
Cookney was probably 1 mile away. So
Okay,
you could
so
walk.
you can walk.
And there was a pub there.
Okay, of course. How big was Cookney? Like population-wise?
I'd say, I don't even know, maybe, I'm guessing 500 people.
Also, like nothing. Okay, so what's next to Cookney? Where's closer to something bigger?
Warsop, where I went to school.
And that was how big?
I mean, I don't know how people calculate the estimation of the...
No, it's like this boggles me sometimes how people know the population of certain places. Like,
how do you know that?
Like, it's, I don't know why. Like,
Should I
know,
Google
like,
it?
I know it's 9 million in London. I know like 130 million Russians. Like, I know 300 million Americans. I know, you know, like these kind of the basic things. Like 60 million is like UK, 80 million is France and Germany, whatever. Like, when we live in certain places, we should kind of know approximately the population.
Right, okay.
So what is it?
So Warsop, this is way more than I expected.
Yeah.
Warsop is 12,000.
It sounds like, what's up?
What's up?
What's up? It was 12,000.
Yeah, this, to be fair, this figure includes the populations of Church, Warsop, Meaden Vale, Suckham, and Spine Cop. So that's like 4 little towns.
Spine Cocks.
Spine Cop. So let's see if it has Norton, where I grew up.
Because all I want to say, because like I grew up in a town, we were 6,000 at the time. Right,
6,000.
6,000. So now it's about 4,000.
Right.
So the whole story goes about like how you grow up in the same little town, but that so many people have that urge and that feel that they want to go explore, to learn, travel, whatever. And so many people are just so happy to stay there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like my dad was not very good with giving advices, but a couple things I learned from him. One of them was Renars. Some people are like birds. Some birds need to fly all the way somewhere to go through the winter or whatever, right? So like storks, they need to go to Africa, whatever, to the winter. And some birds just have a nest right here, like right outside the house, right where they live. And that people are very similar. So someone has that something about, there's more than this. I want to explore. I want to understand. And for me, that inkling and that urge was like from very young age. I knew there's something out there, you know. And now when I go back and I meet up with some of my old mates, we have nothing in common. We have nothing to talk about. I talk about them. Oh, we just did Gladiator 2. We worked in it. They're like, they don't even think I'm saying like, is it true? Like, what is,
this guy's full of BS.
He's smoking something. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
You know, and then the same thing again, just going back to like why someone is happy with Amberella Ella, so they will not go into maybe read more books. It's just not their interest. It's not what they into. They want to just simple things.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a lot of it is down to like education as well. It's just like you're into fitness. Like it baffles me that we don't get taught like diet. In schools, like, you know.
Yeah, but at the same time, we have that amazing advantage nowadays to find that information if we want to. Like, isn't that a logical, like, okay, I want to feel the best and I want to perform the best and I want to just have a quality life.
That has to come from either parents or education, though.
Yeah, my dad died of alcoholism. My mom never done sports in her life.
So how did you get into it?
Since I was a kid, I just loved to do active stuff.
But how?
How? Like legs and arms.
No, but like were you in your back garden on your own? You was like, I want a football, or was it school?
School, yeah, it was school.
Education.
I mean, I was exposed to it.
Exactly.
I saw it, I tried it, I liked it. You have to be
exposed to it, right?
Yeah, you have to be exposed to it. But how many kids are exposed to it and they're like, just like, fuck off? As soon as they feel it's hard and challenging, they're like, no, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But I'm just saying, like, at least it should be taught in schools to have, you know, of how food works and like what you put in your body and
true.
stuff.
I guess so.
Because it starts from the parents. If they've got a low income, they'll probably go to Iceland because it's cheap, and it's not the Iceland's fault. They just figured out a way to sell cheap food because they're like, there's people who have low incomes who need this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's got carcinogenics in or whatever. It gives you cancer.
Iceland, you mean like a shopping place, not the country?
No, the shopping place. And then, so they fill up their freezers because it's easy and they've got a hard job and they've single mum and they just fill their freezers up and they just feed their kids. They don't know really any different.
No, but there's a really weird thing about that. Some kids have a way higher level of curiosity than others. That's simple as it is. Because I grew up literally, I was no different. Like, yeah, my mom did expose me to do a public speaking or play in the theater, but I had other kids doing the same thing. And then there's just down the line, they never went for that. You know, it's almost like there's some kind of weird gene installed in someone.
Maybe right, actually.
And maybe right. How dare you? How dare you?
I think it's a combination then. It must be the sweet science of like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, and you know,
it's like maybe a nice cocktail.
Like cocktail,
cocktail,
like a cocktail.
But it's really it's a kind of a phenomena. Phenomena? Phenomena. Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, I had something else I wanted to ask you. What else? I already forgot now. What do you want to ask me? You want to ask me something? We can talk about anything. You have 5 minutes. Come on.
I have 5 minutes?
Yeah.
What? Till the end of the podcast?
Go.
Or
no.
right now?
Just now.
Okay, 5 minutes. So you told me how you got in stunts.
Yeah.
Just then. This is such an interesting concept.
Interesting concept.
What would you?
I could ask a question.
Okay, you can start your life over again.
Hey,
like,
okay. Now we're talking.
Start from the fresh.
Yeah.
Let's say from you graduate or whatever, like working man.
Yeah.
You can't go into what you've gone into now, but you get to start afresh. What would you do? And no money involved. It doesn't matter about the money.
Going back and forth with this, I mean, it's the most important is to really kind of understand what are the things what make you live, what makes you feel good. And those are the things you need to do, right? So, and I'm being so fortunate. I think this is the life I've been living since I left Latvia. I think like 13 years ago. Maybe before that it was a bit harder. But now and for a long time, it's just been like crazy great. You know, I would say, you know, for stunts right now when I'm working, like there is a side of like, I just need to do this, even though it's a lot of fun and I have a good time. But this is more for the money, what I do. But for me, I've been always attracted to the idea of presenting, interacting with people, talking to people, asking stupid questions. I'm the people's human. Like I love interacting and doing that stuff. So I didn't tell you this, I used to MC events and parties in Latvia, then also I did some in UK. But in Latvia, I got to the point I was MCing events for like 2,000-3,000 people. I was the guy with the microphone on the stage and talking shit all the time.
That's a tough job.
Yeah, and in Latvian and Russian.
That's a tough job. I did a couple of them and I found that pretty difficult.
For me, I didn't. I was just like, I was like a fish in the water. That's the thing.
Because they can't talk back. So
they can't talk back. But I think the best one example, I would tell you this. I was working for this agency for a while, about 2-3 years. I was doing events only as like a hobby on the side because I had my day job. I was studying university at the time. And this one time she calls me. She's like, listen, we have this big event. And this guy is like sick or whatever and he can't make it. And he's like one of the local Latvian celebrity. He had his own not TV show, but like TV news channel thingy. Like everyone knew him, right? And I'm like, just like idiot, like not even thinking about, yeah, sure, fuck it, yeah, I'll do it. Come over, it's about 3,000 people. It starts with this opening where they do the official part where they walk with the flags and everything. It was for these all big corporate companies. It was a sports event for 3 days, which is like a team building, just like a very like cool stuff. And it opens with we had the Minister of Culture, who was official opener, who was like, give a speech. I had to announce this person. And I totally fucked up the name of that person. I think I said the first name right and last name I totally fucked up. And that was my opening with that. And I was like, fuck me. And this is one of the times when you sweat so hard, like, it's just like nuts, right? And sweat nuts, basically. And I thought I really fucked it up with me saying yes. But then day by day, people would come over to me like, oh, you did pretty good job. You did pretty good job. On the third day, they came over, they said, you did a better job than the guy before, like the celebrity guy, right? And I had such an amazing satisfaction feeling that I just walked to the manager who was organizing. I said, thank you so much for this opportunity. I loved it. And I was about to get in the car and drive away. And she's like, stop, where are you going? It's like, what do you mean? I haven't paid you yet. I totally forgot about money because I had such an amazing experience of like turning them around. Because from very beginning, there were so many people coming over like, who the fuck are you? Where's our usual guy? You know, you don't even know how to say the minister's fucking last name. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And then this is the like very vivid point in my life when I understood like, if you do what you really enjoy to do, you don't need money, you don't need any of that shit.
You're so right, man. I was on The Last Breath, which is my first lead role. Hey. It was the biggest project I've ever done and the most money I've ever been paid. And I was the lead. I was number 1 on the call sheet. And I looked at this studio and looked at the tank and I was like, I think this is what I've been dreaming of. I think this is what I've envisioned. And then every Friday they paid me and I would always forget. And I'd look and all the other cast were like, we get paid today. And I'd look at my account and I was like, one is like a lot of money.
Like this.
But 2, I was like, they could have got me for free.
Because
the
I would do it
idiots. Yeah, I would have done this for free. Like I did. Like they could have easily not paid me, and I would have been like, I'll still do it.
I think that's the secret. Literally, that's the secret for people who are listening to us. If you find that thing where it doesn't matter the money anymore, because like it's very important to ask that question to yourself over and over. As you said, like if money wouldn't be the thing, what would you do?
Yeah.
Right. And with the stunts, 95% of the time, that's the case as well.
Yeah.
We do have cases, especially in the film industry, when you sit around, wait around, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing here, right? But when we do what we do, you know, like yesterday when I watched, spoiler alert, I'm going to get smashed with a vase in my face in this movie, right? And then I watch it and I'm like, oh my God, this is so much fun. This is so cool. Like, how, they pay me for this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, mad.
So,
and you know, I've met other people who have shot off to stardom who said the exact same thing. Guy called Jacob Scipio, he's in Bad Boys. He's in the Bad Boys franchise. Like he's shooting up stardom. Like before he left to LA, we kind of like caught each other a few times in London. He was unknown at the time, so we were not buddies, but we kind of knew each other. So I'd chat to him. And I remember when he got Bad Boys, like the first one, I was like, tell me everything. And we were just talking and he was just like, you're like me, man. I'd do this for free too. Like I don't care about money. Like it's just a massive bonus. I mean, if you're employed and you're on the clock, you get paid for your work and you don't want to do overtime and you feel outdone if you work for a company. Yeah. Like my girlfriend works for a company and she does loads of overtime and she doesn't get paid for it. And I'm there like, what? This is so unfair. But I do so many hours on scripts, on whatever I'm doing for free. And I don't even think of it as work. And I'm like working constantly. And that's what I think gets you to a better level because you'll outwork people because You does money or not, you're like, I'm coming for you, baby. And I'm never going to stop. I will keep working till I die.
Because like this is not now. Can you imagine the world now that everyone has whatever they want?
Yeah.
Let's say like to the limit, like but enough food, money, shelter, everything, and you don't get paid for work. So you do whatever the fuck you do. What do you think happened? If someone who's been doing accounting for 20 years, they hate that shit, but they do it just because they need to pay their bills. If someone who's been a teacher, that are the same reasons. If someone is all those like
Because you just thrown me. I've never.
dead end jobs, like what those people would do.
That is the most interesting question I've ever. You know when like there's all these maths numbers and equations. I'm like, I'm like,
Wait.
what would people? It'd be chaos. I don't know. Would it be riots? Would there?
No. I think
He said no.
I think what they would do, they would finally, and this is what happened with COVID as well. Like people would actually, because they, especially in States, they realize they rather get the COVID money, like the whatever the help they get from government, and they don't need to go back to work because what's the point? I think people just would finally go like to their hobbies, to their things where they really enjoy. And could be a lot of people, because in general, we are kind of lazy creatures who just wants to lie on a tree and do fuck all, you know, if we would be like back when we were monkeys. But those who do have that idea of what makes them happy, they would do those things, you know, they would travel or...
Here's the kink. I agree with all that. This is great. And I'm a massive believer in like go and do like chase your dreams. Like if I ever doing a speech, I'll say like chase your dreams. Like it might come true. You never know. But if everyone did that, the world would be in trouble because we wouldn't have bin men. Like we wouldn't have service jobs. Like, yeah, if everyone was like, I'm not taking out the trash. Look, I'm not collecting people's bins. Like I'm not cleaning the streets. So like we have to have those people. So when we were talking about like, people who, you know, are on low incomes and stuff, it's like, oh God, we almost kind of need them for the whole thing to run, the operation. Like we need policemen, we need firemen, we need service jobs.
But the crazy thing, some people love to be a policeman. You see?
That's true.
If you would say like, if I would honestly say like some people would love to be garbage men,
maybe
probably
not.
not.
Like
but in the
cleaners.
same time, there's so many OCD weirdos around.
That's true.
Who love the order, who love the cleanliness,
Yeah.
who cannot. There's no way the molecule in their body will allow just to take like a piece of paper and just throw on the floor. You know, one of my mates who taught me this thing, like whenever you see a piece of trash on the street, just pick it up, put it in the bin. And I looked at him at the beginning, what's wrong with you? Right. And then like now I see a piece of paper or whatever in the bin is right there. I'm just like picking up and putting it back. Because that there's a feel good feeling, right? So to do these kind of things. And also I believe that could be created as like, again, robotics and stuff. They could be machines organizing and doing that stuff, you know, and someone again could be in charge of creating that robotics thing. Because like, let's say, we don't get money, but what we would get would be acknowledgement of the society. Because I know for sure, and like I just felt that again on the stunt job I'm doing. I'm responsible. I told you for the props, like for I'm organizing props for the stunts and whatever. And there was this one day when I said like to the big bosses, and I said, "Oh, we need this prop and that prop, and it's gonna work like that, and that's what I think." And the guy looks at me, "Oh, Renars, great idea." And I know my salary is not going to go bigger because of that, but an acknowledgement and that respect, what I could feel, the feeling of that I am contributed to it is the best money there is.
Yeah, that's true.
So what if that would be the payment? What if that would be the fee, the respect? And feel good thing, you know? Because then people would walk around and they see you. And this is where we go to this idea when we talked about acting a shitty part. Christian Bale does the whatever and gets all that money. Yeah, I got the money, right? But what if the payment only would be like, oh my God, you did a great job. That film you did, and there's no money involved. So then it would never do the shitty stuff.
That's so true.
That would be that
is so true.
Ideologically weird society. It would be so different from what we have now.
Because we love talking about like, if you have a dream, go for it. But not everyone can do that. Not everyone can go and flee the nest. You know, there has to be people that, and there are the people that just enjoy having a steady job. You know, it's a steady income. They just want to be comfortable. And I'm like, that's great. We need that. We can't have everyone.
Yeah,
Imagine
but
if
that
everyone
means-
had a big dream.
But then at the same time, that means that you don't really want that dream.
What do you mean?
Well, like, you know, when someone says, oh, I would like to do this and this. No, you don't. What do you mean? Well, example was a while ago, I saw this in a perfect example. So this very famous pianist is in a restaurant eating food with his mates, and he's just like chilling, whatever. And this guy comes over and says like, oh, you're such and such. You're so good with piano. I wish I would be like you. And the guy says like, no, you don't.
I see what you mean now.
Yeah. And it's like, what do you mean I don't? Well, if you would like to be like me, you would be at home practicing right now.
Yeah.
So this is the very interesting thing, like when people say to, oh, I want to be like you, I want to do like you, or they say, oh, you're so talented. That's what pisses me off so much. You're so talented. Do you understand how much work I put into that? And if we would start in the same, and from very beginning, we would start together, most likely you would be better than me. And just because I keep doing it, keep grinding, keep breaking bones, smashing and doing all those things, that's why I'm where I am right now. It's not because of my talent.
Well, that was the funny thing when you said earlier, when you asked me about, is it talent or can you learn it? I'm not a good person to ask that because I was so bad when I started, but I grew up on like, in a farming village where we just like, I was at work at 14, like working on farms and like building fences with my dad. So like we've always just grinded. Like they're just working men.
Yeah.
They just work. So for me, I was just like, I suck. So I should get to work. So let's just work this thing out and get to work. So I just worked at it.
I'm just going to cut out that piece. I suck, so I get the work.
So I was really bad, but I have got to a pretty good place because I just put so many hours in and just worked at it. And I'm not talented at all. And like I used to talk to a mate of mine called Nate Camponi, who's director. I used to tell him, I was like, mate, I'm not naturally talented. And he was just like work always outshines talent. Like it's 90% work, 10% talent.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think that's what I've got. I think I've got 10% talent. I think like a tiny part of me have got something. There's something creative there. But I think most of it is just working. So at the desk, right?
Because I think one of the biggest arts is to understand and to learn that in order to feel that satisfaction of something, of achieving, is to put that work in. So right now, probably the best examples are kids who kind of like, I just want to play. I just want to have fun time. So I grew up in a countryside where I had my chores. My dad would be very like vigilant of like, you finish your chores, then you can have fun, right? Since yet very young age, you need to plow potatoes. You need to, do something in the barn, like clean the barn, whatever that is. And I remember like so vividly. So I would do the job and I would look at the kids who play in the street and I would be jealous. But then there was some point where I realized that I'm doing something, I'm contributing to something, and you guys doing fuck all. So I don't remember the breaking point, but for a long time, I just hated my dad, saying like, oh, fucking, why are you putting me to this job, whatever. But that taught me so much that basically the philosophy went there, it feels good to eat food because you worked, you deserve it, right? Yeah. And also physically, when you move your body, like when you did something like the food tastes better. So when you're in the fresh air in a forest, like we would cut trees, whatever, I had my dad, we would eat like just a simple meat in what mom prepared. And we just eat, it tastes like the best, most delicious, whatever meal. Because like fresh air, you're tired, you want food, right? So I think with all this, even now, sometimes when I'm like, okay, I could eat a steak or something, but I haven't deserved it. So I need to go do some training or do some kind of work or whatever. And then I eat. The feeling of satisfaction is there. If I don't do it, it's not there. So it's almost like, how do we teach society to have that feeling of achievement, satisfaction, and then in return, we give them the appreciation, and that's their money, that's their reward. Instead of like, oh, is the money in my account? It's a weird one. But
it's difficult, eh?
It's kind of on the cusp. Like I kind of understand like what it is, but
yeah, I've always, if we discuss like world problems or like societal problems, it's like, how do you implement that? Like, I'd hate to be the prime minister. I'd hate to be in charge. Like, you're never going to please everyone. Like, whatever decision you make, there's going to be one side that says wrong, one side is for, and it's just like, it's almost impossible. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's this sort of thing. Maybe it's like, conversation, podcasts, getting it out there, like talking about stuff. Like, because that's why you were talking about Joe Rogan. That's why it's so interesting, because he gets people on and you're like, I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's why I love, we were talking about, I've been having interviews for The Last Breath, and people were like, what is it about acting for you? And like, it took me a while to discover that because I didn't know. I just thought it was cool. And it took me a while, and I was like, it's stories, like education. Like, I watched some stories and it changes my whole mindset. You might watch a story on like, I don't know, an LGBT story, and then you're like, oh, I feel really guilty how I, treated that guy that time. You're like, I'll never do that again. I did one of my first films, 2014, a short film, was I was playing a gay guy who's really struggling to come out to his rugby pals at university.
It's like you reliving your childhood. But instead of coming out of the closet as a gay person, you came out of the closet as a theater person.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much the same shit.
Yeah.
Still gay.
So I did that short film, and it was my first short film, and before I just thought acting was so cool. I just thought like filmmaking was so cool. And I thought like movies. I did that film. It got like 1 million views on YouTube. It was like no budget. It was like found a filmmaker in Leeds. I was at uni. He came up with this idea. We came up to it together and whatever, blah, blah. And then we shot it, and it got 1 million views on YouTube. And the amount of messages that I got from people around the world. Imagine like me, 19, did a short film, getting messages from kids around the world saying, your film and your story has made me come out to my parents. Your film, hey, I'm from Brazil. Your film has made me cry today. I feel seen.
Wow. Dude,
from Spain,
amazing.
like, hey, I just came out to my parents today. I watched your short film. And I'm like,
that's amazing.
Then I was like, that whole changed. This is not cool. This is serious. Like, you can change people's lives now. And it's same with this, talking about
100%.
education, about if you've got a message, if you want to talk to someone, if you want to change society, we can do it. We can do it by the power of this. It's like, we're in a free country. We can make stories. We can do podcasts. We can.
And the feeling is amazing. Like, honestly, that what you just said, like, I was just working on The Witcher season 4, and one of the extras guys, I know, like, he was a special action. He came over and he's like, I never met the guy before. He comes over and he's like, oh, I listen to your podcast. It's really cool. And I'm like,
mad.
And because it was crazy. I couldn't believe it, because from the very beginning when I started doing this, is like, even if it changes one person's
100%.
It totally makes sense to do it. And I'm having so much fucking fun with it, right? And then it was like, how can I possibly be so selfish and not to do it?
Yeah.
Because obviously I have some kind of, well, again, let's not talk about gift. I just want to do it, you know? And for me as well, there's so many selfish reasons for that. I learn so much. I have fun time with my mates. And just like, why the fuck not? You know?
And we were just saying that there, like, we're literally just saying it's the only time the phone is away. Yeah. It's on airplane mode, and we're talking with eye contact.
Yeah. Because usually
like
we look
2
somewhere
hours.
else.
Yeah, we're on the phone like, no, I can't do Marvel this week. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I get those phone calls all the time.
Yeah, we get the phone calls all the time. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I mean, you actually do work on those sets.
I've never done Marvel, by the way.
Yeah,
oh, no, I've done Eternals.
Yeah, I mean, you've done like Ryan Reynolds, Samuel Jackson, like, you've done the blockbusters.
No, I've done big movies. Yeah, but
yeah.
It's different, like stunts and acting, you know, but still.
It's different, but you still see, I mean, you learn so much, and you still see the sets. Like, even if you're on as an extra, you still get to see how that works and operates.
I think the best part is, like, now I've done about 50 movies. I think,
50.
like, as a stunt performer and the actor, whatever. But I think, like, just to compare how was the first couple of films when I get on the set and I was like, oh my God, they're exciting. Now, like,
now you're like, where's my coffee? And then you said, I said oat milk. Is that what? That's what he's like now. That's what he's like now.
No, trust me, it's not.
And he's like, I've been waiting around for 2 hours. But
listen, we got really amazing moments. I think one of my, there's a lot of them, but one of my really, what I like, the guy who is Paul Rudd, who did the Ant-Man, right? And I love him from so many movies, and one of them is the Anchorman, right? When he's the guy who sprays himself with a Black Panther, which is illegal, whatever, how many countries. Fucking love that guy. And I was on Ant-Man wearing this stupid helmet, like this, I'm playing this weasel creature, right? Like all furry, whatever.
No makeup needed.
No, definitely no. I was just like a bucket, like, you know, I can't see anything. And there's this point where we play next to each other. So Paul Rudd with the other the actress who was playing that Ant-Man lady, whatever. So they're next to me, and like Paul says something funny to the actress, and they're laughing, and I start. Oh, guys, that was a good one. I love it. And then the guy looks at me, he's like, what the fuck? And I was like, I so wanted to like have a conversation with him and like, dude, Paul, I love you. You're my, and he's like, oh, thanks, guy in a helmet whose face I can't see.
No idea.
Yeah, like, who the fuck is this guy?
Can we get him offset, please?
Yeah.
Security.
Get him some latte.
yeah. Oh, it's a mad world, though, isn't it? It's such a strange world.
It is, but it's like, well, one thing what I love is every day when I'm on set, like meeting, working with Scott Atkins, working with all these, they're just people.
Yeah.
Just people.
Yeah.
You know, with their dreams, with their aspirations, with their ideas and stuff. And it's great.
Yeah,
okay.
I love it.
This is the second part, almost an hour.
Blah, blah, blah. Renars podcast.
Okay, we back for the third and the final part. Here you go with Mr. Jack Parr. Hey, how are you, buddy? You look so sexy right now. What's going on?
Thank you very much.
We're just gonna have a couple adjustments.
Wow. What?
You sound like a really evil criminal. No. That's it. This is the last third part. You need to speak like this.
I love this. Hey, baby. You want some good time together?
So what would you say, like, when you hear that voice? What are the things you want to say? I want to say, like, I'm not your father.
I'm not your father.
I'm Groot.
I'm Groot.
Hulk smash.
Hulk smash. I want to say this. Bend over.
That's it. We're done with this. Come on, bend over. Why bend over? Jesus.
Oh my! I love that too much. I think I was getting well into that one.
It's a weird one because it's kind of like messes up. Like for me, like with
This voice is like, I still can hear my own voice, but then I hear that on the top.
Yeah, so they can't hear my voice.
No, they just hear the boss man voice.
Boss.
This also works for if you call and you ask for the when they pay you money ransom.
I just love your voice. When they pay you money. Get a ransom.
They thing called ransom.
Dumb motherfucker.
But can you imagine one morning you just wake up and this is your voice and that's it. There's nothing you do about it. Oh God.
Get your dick out.
Get your dick out.
that's it.
Oh man, can I have one of those for home?
Yeah,
I'll do all my audition tapes for them.
exactly.
Hey,
You're
my
going to be
name's
very... Marvel is going to take you right away.
Yeah. I am Groot.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the fun
man.
part. As you guys can see, everyone who has the video, they see we have sparkly outfits, hats, and everything. I don't know why. I just like that it's like kind of adds a little bit of, whatever. We cool. I mean, you're already wearing pajama bottoms.
Yeah.
That's like, it's kind of you there.
I just did not know this was going to be recorded.
Yeah.
Video wise.
Yeah, that's because well, that's another story. Because I could not believe that you didn't check it like before you said yes to it.
I was like, Renars just asked me to come to a point. I was like, yeah, man.
I was like, because it's Renars. So I know him like
I'll turn up.
twice.
Yeah. I was like, man, I'll be there. Yeah. I just pictured a podcast like all the other podcasts on Spotify. Not all of them are video recorded.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I'll be
No,
there.
for me, video is so important. I think,
Yeah.
I mean,
it
especially,
adds a lot.
especially
Adds a
now,
lot.
like when you the reels and all that stuff, that's one thing. But it's like the visual thing, like when you see like what's going on, it's so different.
Yeah.
And again, like some people enjoy more like just audio, some people like video. So you get a little bit of for everyone. And also the other thing I think I didn't mention you earlier, the reason why I do podcasts is also it's kind of creates a little autobiography concept. So when I have my guest over, I love the idea that 10 years from now, you're going to look at this, how much fun we had. Then we talk about things and values, what we think is important and whatever, like how is that's going to change in a decade or two. Then for people like, what if, one day you're going to check out whatever, they family members can always look at it and then see, oh, my dad actually was talking about this. My brother was saying about that. And then, because I was a huge fan of autobiographies for a long time, because someone convinced me with the idea, like, if you want to be like someone like Jim Carrey or Oprah or whatever, like, read about their life stories. Because for some reason, people are convinced that, those who are up there, it was easy for them, or they just were born with that. And then you listen, like, as someone who mentioned Jim Carrey, like, his childhood was fucked. You know, like, literally living in a. Do you know his kid's story?
No, but I also had a massive fascination of autobiographies. Like, I read every actor's autobiography I could get my hands on.
So important, yeah. Jim Carrey's was like, his family got so broke that they lived in a factory which they were cleaning.
Wow.
So they were literally cleaning, got paid, and like, I think they got paid with money and that they could live there. And he would come to school and he was falling asleep because at night they were cleaning the factory, because obviously during the day it's open, right? But his dad was pushing him to do comedy, and they go and stand up. So it's fascinating. It's so important.
The quote that he said, he's in like a kind of bachelor outfit, not bachelor. He's like, he looks like he's going to receive a degree or something. And he does a quote. My favorite quote in my entire life.
What was that?
He says, "My dad." I'm going to butcher this, but he said, "My dad did a job that he hated, and he got laid off, and he was jobless, and we were in a pickle." So he says, you can fail at something you don't want to do. So you might as well try and do something you want to do. And I was like, I love this guy. Like, what a quote. I didn't even butcher it that time.
You didn't. You smashed it.
Thanks,
well
mate.
done, mate. Good job.
Sorry, mate. There's so much equipment. I don't know how to navigate the studio like you. I'm not here every day,
No, it's so true. It's so true. But again, like, somewhere down the line, we just lost. And I think it's also with the products, like our parents, like, I don't know how about yours, but it sounds like what you were saying. They were like, job should not be fun. Job is to make money, to make living, And my dad literally said that to me face. He's like, dude, what do you think? Job should be fun? And then, like, he's been away now for me, like, almost 8 years. If he would see me, my everyday, he probably wouldn't believe.
No.
He wouldn't believe that. Like, what we get paid doing stunts, and he would see me just fucking around with the plastic swords like an idiot there. And it's like, this is the thing, like, but if I ask, even nowadays, people understand how movies are taken, whatever, and how much they understand. But if you take a video from a previous, like, let's say what we did for The Witcher, it's basically 10 grown-ups running around with the plastic swords and doing noises like, and they get paid.
We're just kids.
And then I would ask the questions, you see this video? How much do you think they get paid? I think 95% of people who see that, they get paid?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's weird,
man. I've got a really good mate of mine called Bjorn Franklin. Amazing director.
Let me guess, he's from Norway.
No, he's not.
No, Bjorn.
Mate, I don't know where his family are from, where his parents are from.
Sweden,
but
maybe?
He went to the same school as me.
Okay.
So I got cast in a music video. Met the directors, and the director goes, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Oh, you probably won't know it. It's in between Mansfield and Sheffield." Blah, blah, blah. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm from that area." And I was like, "Oh no way!" He was like, "What school did you go to?"
Dad.
And I was like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Dad?"
I'm your father.
He was like, "What school did you go to?" I was like, "You will have never heard of it, but it's called Meaden." And he was like,
I went to that school.
He was, "Dude, I went to that school."
No.
And he left the year I came into year 7. Then he left. So we were just like, what? And then I played loads of tennis, and I had to like cancel the first meeting because I had a important tennis game.
Yeah.
And the producer was like, "Don't worry, Bjorn plays tennis. He totally understands. Like he says go play and like enjoy the game."
Oh my
So we
God.
rescheduled. He's like, "Mate, how's the tennis game?" We were vibing, and then he's like one of those guys, like you said, people just are like, how are you doing this? He, after the music video, he looked at me and went, "How are we getting away with this?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
every time like we talk now, he's like, "We're still getting away with it." It's like, how are we getting away with this as a job?
But I think from the very beginning, from the very essence, there's just these fuck-ups. There's the fuck-ups of, like, because back in the days also, there was a very different idea what it means, prosperity, what it means, good life, because there used to be war after war after war, right? So it was just like from famine, whatever, like, people just figuring out how to survive, and we're talking about what is the job of my dreams. Like, who gives a fuck about your dreams? We need to figure out how to live, right? And that's probably like kind of put us aside. But nowadays it's so different, so we have more freedom and stuff, which is great.
Yeah, it's gone crazy.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about some movies, some people, and some books.
Yeah.
Let's start with the movies.
Yes.
So you gave me this massive list, and thank you so much that you allowed me to choose which one we start with. I'm gonna go with a Goodfellas.
I knew you was gonna say that.
I'm gonna go with Goodfellas. Okay, we can go with the Fight Club. We can go.
No,
with Fight
go
Club.
with Goodfellas, because I've not seen it in so many years.
Yeah.
I even said it to you, like, if you start breaking down scenes, I haven't seen it in that long. I can't remember scene by scene. But I just remember when I watched it, I was like, that's in my top 10.
Yeah, Goodfellas is like...
I was like, classic.
Just such a good film.
So good.
And then there's certain things what I quoted already for you, like when he comes with a gangster suit, like, Mom, look at my suit.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is this? You're like one of those gangsters.
Yeah. I mean, will you hear
Tom
that?
Cruise, yeah.
Will you be able to hear that?
It's Tom Cruise, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Hear it.
You can hear it in your ears. If you can hear it in your ears, you can hear it.
Okay, yeah.
No,
Okay, it's
fine.
gone.
Listen, it's not a movie. Like, it's actually cool. It adds this like little bit of,
Oh,
you know how in
adds-
films they
adds
used to,
something.
let's wait, plane is passing.
Yeah.
When we're doing The Witcher right now, like we were like out in the field and the plane goes every like 10 minutes.
Right.
Let's wait that plane. Oh, let's wait that cloud. And we're like,
Yeah.
this is not that kind of stuff.
Let's get on with it. No, Goodfellas. I think the most famous scene was the one you was doing after that.
The clown. Yeah. How am I funny? What is the funny about me?
That is so
Yeah.
good. He is amazing, isn't he?
Yeah. And then I was talking about Home Alone. How amazing was Home Alone?
Yeah, and then the show, I need to go and watch that show. I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, so what I was mentioning to Jack earlier was the movies that made us. It's back on Netflix. I think it was taken out. It's back, or it's never gonna get taken away. I don't know, maybe it's made up. Anyways. So all the film lovers, like, definitely check out the movies that made us. They talk about all these cool old school movies and how they created them, and which is fascinating. Then about 90% of them were like on the cusp not to be made. Things like Dirty Dancing. Dirty Dancing was so close not to be made. There were so many obstacles. Because like the craziest story is that what's the dude's name?
If we don't get this, the people are going to be like...
Oh, whatever. Of course we know. They say he lifts the girl and his name is... And we kind of understand about movies, especially you. Like,
I was going to say, this is bad. Yeah,
this is bad. Anyways, so they hated each other. Like,
Right.
they apparently they did a film before, and then they basically have some... Are you going to look
Should
it
I
up?
Google it?
Yeah, I should Google it. Oh, my God. I want to say
carry on
Gosling
talking.
for some reason. No, it's not.
Gosling?
I want to say Gosling. but
Jesus.
No, it's not.
He's probably like
I
a
just wanna say
child.
it. You never was born. Anyways, and they did a film before that, and they had it already. So everything is now there. Money's there. They cast the
Dude,
cast.
you're going to be so angry at yourself.
No, don't say it. I can remember it. It is. It is. Okay, how does the name starts? First letter.
P.
P. Patrick Swayze. You see, I had it somewhere.
Well done.
Anyway,
Oh,
so
gosh.
Patrick Swayze and the other girl, whose name I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Jennifer
yeah,
Grey, is it?
they basically just about to shoot. They finally get the money and everything, and Patrick's like, I'm not gonna work with her, or other way around, something like that.
Whoa.
And then the director said like, someone or producer said like, just guys go and squash the beef. And they went in this one room. I don't know what they did, but they get all sweaty and teared up. And then they squashed the beef. And then they filmed the movie. And Patrick had a massive injury on his knee. He needed to do this crazy jump or whatever to do the stuff. He was literally doing jump again and again. And he's like, fuck, I can do one more. And then I'm done. Like, I'm not going to be able to do it. And then that one more, they got the shot.
Wow.
So anyways, yeah. So you check it out. And also like Jurassic Park, how they figured out all the obviously the biggest one challenge was like to build those cinematronic whatever things they call it, dinosaurs and stuff, because then there was no CGI, so it was all real shit. Very interesting one. So back to Goodfellas. I think probably the biggest lesson for me watching that, it sounds a little bit like daft, but it's like what comes too easy, most likely it's not gonna go well down. It's like cutting corners not always gonna help you in your life, kind of thing, right? But at the same time, I am a huge believer to philosophy, like not always you need to work really, really hard. It's more like you need to be smart about shit. So I don't know, but it's so many other things you can learn from that film.
Mate, I wish I watched that film before we started. Again. Okay. It's one of those you can watch over and over again.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. It's really good.
I wish I had watched it again.
Really, again, to remind you that when his new girlfriend, wife to become in the future, when she basically got roughed up by her neighbor, and he comes home and just like, because she called and he did this to me, and he goes across the road with a revolver and smashed his face in, and then he comes back and gives her the gun and says, hide it. And then she kind of in a like what they call it in a thought, she says this stuff.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I was afraid, but then I'm not going to deny it did turn me on. And she said, like, every normal girl would just run away from this and would never look back. But I don't want to deny it did turn me on. And I was like, oh, shit.
You do know this beat by beat. How many times have you seen this film?
Quite a lot.
Jesus. I'll tell you on the list, the ones that I remember the most are Fight Club.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time Hollywood.
Yeah.
Wolf Wall Street. I mean, those...
The most okay, so we already discussed the Fight Club, right? So for me, what Fight Club really resonates. I just worked on Enola Holmes too, where I was fighting Millie Bobby Brown, and
Nice.
and with that fight we had Helena Bonham Carter,
Nice.
because she was playing Enola Holmes' mother, right?
She's so good.
She's so cool,
so
but so
good.
weird as well.
Is she really? She weird.
So we have these makeup artists. They say like, listen, you know what happened this morning? It was like, what happened? So Helena Bonham Carter, she was talking to herself for 1 hour while she was staring in a mirror. That literally just like not paying attention to any people. She's like, you know what? And just like, having full conversation.
No.
That was one thing. But the other thing, what I thought was boss and just really cool. And I'm like, I probably would do the same shit. So she has this crazy uncomfortable dress, right? They can't go to toilet properly. They have to take this whole thing out, whatever. So she stands in front of the entire crew, all the cast, whatever, and she takes a piss while she's talking with us. But none of us know that she's peeing in a bottle she pushed under the dress. But she wasn't, she was kind of behind the carriage, which was pushed over. Like there was like an explosion, the carriage is there, and then she was behind there. And she was kind of, I noticed she was doing something with her dress. Had no idea what it was.
Wow.
And then later someone told me what they were doing, and I'm like, oh shit! I was like, this is so boss, because I was thinking, well, you could just go to toilet, and then the ladies from the costume said like, dude, that dress is horrible. Like, you need to take it off and all that stuff. And I'm like, good on you, babes.
Sorry, did she pee in a bottle like this?
No. There was as I understand,
bottle.
like a special bottle. Yeah.
I was gonna say that's good aiming. I was like, how do you?
Is that all we're gonna get from this? Good aiming.
Good aiming,
Well
Helen.
done.
Like, how the frick do you do that as a lady? You know, they normally have
Respect,
like,
you know what I'm
they normally
saying?
have like the cup things.
Yeah.
You seen those?
Yeah, shiwis.
Shiwis, is that what it's called?
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah, I poop in mine.
Oh my god! When I have a very bad diarrhea, I use those.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the
it's
brown rain. Talking about brown rain.
Yeah, it's like it's like almost like a filter.
Yeah.
You know?
Just
like a
leaves
petrol filter.
leaves the good stuff with you.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Ew, Jack.
Ew, man.
I'm horrible today. I'm actually haven't done any podcasts for a long time.
Have you not?
I'm literally
You're out
jumping
of
up the
sync.
chain right now.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
just
I do the same thing. Fight Club. Dude, I watched that with my mum when I was like, I can't remember how old I was. Like a kid. I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I figured it out so early. I was like, I think he's like an imaginary friend or whatever. I think he's like I think it's an imagination. She was looking at me like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then like 20 minutes go by, and I go, and I'm a kid, and I go, yeah, I think guys,
That's
I was my
awesome.
brother and my mom was like, he's not real, and they were like, who? And I'm like, the other character, because I didn't know names, but I was like, the other character, you know, not him, this character, and they were like, what are you on? Like, what? And then even like late on into the film, I was like, it's obvious now, and they were like, still no. And then their mum was like, how did you know that? And I was
that's
like,
awesome.
I just had a weird feeling, like it just wasn't quite real.
Well, that straight away says to me, like, because I also didn't have a clue.
Oh, you didn't?
No, didn't.
I thought you were going to be like, mate, you're
No.
a stupid kid.
No,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm also like, you see, one of the differences is like English is not my first language, right?
Right.
So when I was a kid, like I watched it as well, and I think whether it was translated or watched it in original, it's you know you lose that if you don't understand. But in the same time, I was like, I was like your mom and your brother,
Yeah. I mean, I don't do that very often.
But
That's
that
rare.
shows straight away that you have like some right there, scriptures, concept, idea.
I don't know,
That's
man, because like sometimes I think there's so many movies out there now that's that I kind of know structures and I
Right,
kind of
right.
know where things are going. Like, oh, I know where this is going. So sometimes, because obviously, a lot of movies surprise you. You know, original movies.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I think nowadays it's worse
yeah.
because there's just so many movies now that you're like, I just don't know where this is going.
That's pretty crazy.
You know, Hitman. Have you seen Hitman with Glenn Powell? I had no idea where that was going. I was like, I don't know.
Wait, that's the blonde dude, like good looking. He was a school teacher or whatever. I started watching it.
Yeah.
I actually have one stunt guy who is just qualified for a British stunt register, also Latvian. So there's going to be 2 Latvians on BSR now. I've been by myself for almost 10 years. He very looks like him.
Right.
I was literally going to put because I created a collage of that they look similar. I will show you. It's like fuck it, I can edit this.
Could be a stunt double.
And he looks the same. He's the same age and the same height.
Long lost brothers.
I know. It's crazy. I'll show you. His name's Arthur. Really, really cool dude.
But yeah, I think if it's like like one of those horrors or thrillers where in the woods and a woman's getting chased by some weird dude, I think those ones you're like, I kind of know where this is going. But there's some movies nowadays that I'm like, what
about Everything Everywhere Everywhere?
I mean,
once?
Dude,
yeah.
I need to watch that again. That was one of those where I'm like, I need to watch this 4 or 5 times. Interstellar. When I watched that, I was like, I need to watch this again. And then I was like, I need to watch this again. And I was like, 3rd time I cried.
Matrix for me, all I could think of cool moves. I had no fucking clue about what they're talking about.
No.
And just now I worked on The Witcher with Morpheus.
Did you?
Yeah, he was right next to us doing his thing, and I was just so close to ask him so blue pill or red pill?
I bet he just wants to punch people straight in the face when they do that. Oh man,
I can't find that image now.
Were you going to take cover on this? Or you don't talk about that?
What do you mean? Oh yeah, we can talk about this.
No, I was just interested.
Yeah, we should. Fuck, we should talk about this.
I was thinking
no, serious. We should talk about this. Is one of the reasons why we're actually doing this. Fuck me.
Yeah, no, I was quite interested. You do your thing.
No.
You're the host.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
do your thing, your host, but we're doing this.
Yeah.
No, it's a good point. Good that you reminded me because there's so many movies to talk about and so many great stuff. Okay, one more from the list. What else we had there?
What about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah, that one.
I mean, dude, the first time I watched that, I hated it.
Really?
Me and my best friend, we try and watch the biggest movies together, like the biggest anticipated movies. And we went into the BFI IMAX and the biggest screen we could find in London. And we came out and was like, don't really get it. I don't really get it. And then the second time I watched it, I was like, oh. And then third time, I was like, I love this movie.
So what was the things you were didn't get it and then you got it in the second time?
I think number one was I didn't know really about the story of the Manson
family,
Manson family and stuff. I didn't really, and then I started to research that after, and then I understood it. And then the second time, I think I just let myself go a bit more because I was expecting something so epic with DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. It was like me and my best mate, we kind of see that, and then we just think, oh my god! The first time these 2 big hitters are doing a film together, we just expect the best of the best. And it wasn't what you expect, so you're like, and then you just start to appreciate it more as you watch it, So, and then I start to see the message. Tarantino was like, this is a love letter to Hollywood. So then by the third time I watched it, I was like, I get it now. It's more just like...
Yeah, but straight away I'm thinking about that. It's you need all these prerequisites to understand what the film is about. If you haven't done the research, if you don't know the Manson families, and that's so the question is here, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Because from one perspective, it is cool that, they talk about certain things, but if you don't know about them, you can't get really into it. So
personally, I think if you've got an understanding about something, it's always going to be a better experience, I think.
But also it's great what it does. It actually kind of encourages you to find out about those things.
Exactly.
Because anyone and everyone should know that what Manson family was and what they were representing.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's so important.
I had no idea.
And then same thing, you see crazy enough, not crazy enough, I had so many stunt guys on the show and, their fucking biggest inspirations being Bruce Lee, right? And then I looked into Bruce Lee's autobiography and everything. I listened to his biography. Yeah. He was a cocky motherfucker, right? Really cocky. He was there's no denial that he was an amazing performer and all that stuff, but he was very, very cocky and he was very I'm going to show whatever. And then because I knew that, then what was happening on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he was so he's going to say, oh, my fists are lethal weapon, whatever. And this stunt guy just smashes him in the fucking door.
I love that. Such a good scene.
And it's also, for me as a stunt performer, I could, not me personally, could relate to with Brad Pitt's character, but I've seen stunt guys who are they look like nothing really special, whatever, but they're actually fucking ninjas. They're never going to say that. They're never going to show that or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a hard business, and like so many people tell you different things. Like we basically, in my mind, come from a town that you just work, and if you just work on anything, like I remember getting offered a job, and it was like, I think the original fee was like $8,000. It ended up being more, and you know, because of the nature of the business, like there was talks of not taking it through the agency and stuff, and like, this is not right for you, or it's not got enough, you know, dialogue and stuff like that. Like, don't know if this is right. And I remember telling my dad and like my girlfriend's parents, and they were just like, give it to me. They were like, I'll do it. I mean, no joke, my girlfriend's dad joked over the dinner table. Like, I was nearly in tears because I was like, I don't know what to do, because like people are telling me not to do this, but I'm like, I just want to work. And he just joked, was like, I'll do it. I'll take the money. And so what I'm trying to say is that so many people try and tell you that you have to try and navigate your industry, your career in this way, and you need to turn down these jobs and get to this standard. And it is fucking difficult, because you're like, when DiCaprio is just like, he's a movie star, he's got a pool, and he's like living in Hollywood, but still he's having a horrible time. And like people are telling him like, dude, you're just like this guy that gets killed off in Westerns. Like, you're just the villain and he's like, I thought I was doing pretty well. And dude, you get that. You're like, I thought I was doing pretty well. I'm like, dude, no. You need to stop doing like horrors. And you're like, why? Like, dude, I mean, me and Scott talked about it. Me and Scott Atkins talked about it. I was like, would you do like a drama? Would you do something like a bit more not so actiony?
I would love to see Scott doing, Mirabella, I love you so much. Come here. I have amnesia, don't remember who's my father. Come on. In telenovela.
I remember we were talking about it on One Shot. I was like, would you, because we were talking about being pigeonholed and all sorts of stuff about the industry, and you know, like a lot of like action stars, or you know, like especially stunts, aren't considered like proper actors and whatever. And we were talking about that, and I was like, would you ever do anything that takes you out of that? And he said, I don't know, like I owe it to my fans. Like, my fans are expecting me to do this, and they love it, and I love it. And I was like, that's all that matters, man. Like, if you love martial arts and you love these sort of movies, like, who cares? So anyway, I think it was so interesting watching DiCaprio go through that. Like, you on the outside, you think he's made it, but inside he's like, I'm having, like everyone's telling me my career is going down the pan.
I love the way he was learning his lines in a swimming pool with that fucking player thing. Because I did a similar thing, like when I need to learn lines, I mean, obviously I don't know fucking what I'm doing, but the way I do it, I record myself, like both sides, and then I record it just their side, and then my response is like empty, and then I try to repeat. So it was very similar like he was doing. I was like, oh shit.
One of my favorite scenes ever, which was improvised, was where he gets back to the caravan and he's like really pissed off at himself, and he's like, and he's like can't get his lines out. He's like kicking stuff. I'm sorry, and they improvised that because it was just one shot. They never changed angles. They would just sit record and was like, just go for it. Like,
but that dude, I mean, I have so much respect to DiCaprio. Like, you know, whatever the fuck they say about him, he's hanging out with too many young girls and stuff. Like, dude, whatever. But like, he's acting like. Again, in Django Unchained, when he cuts his hand and he finishes the fucking shot anyways, like the reverent, fuck me. I never seen anyone spitting so much saliva out of their mouth to deliver their lines. Like when he's going, all that. And, you know, and he didn't get Oscar for that. I was like, you serious? And then he got Oscar for, was it the Once Upon a Time?
No, it's Revenant. That was his Oscar.
Was that Oscar?
Yeah,
that was Oscar.
I remember.
I thought he didn't get that. Again, on your list was the Wolves of Wall Street.
I mean, he should have got it. Yeah. I mean, he should have got it for every movie he's done. Like,
those
classic.
Hayludes, or what they call them? Quaaludes. Quaaludes, yeah. So these drugs which he takes and they kick in later. And then he's...
like 4 hours later.
Oh my God. That was such a sick scene. And what's the name of the guy? His sidekick?
Jonah Hill.
Fuck, those white teeth.
Man, I think that the first like 30 minutes of that movie is my favorite.
It's just brilliant.
When Jonah Hill.
You tell me how you make that. I will quit today. I will quit right now.
I'll call my boss and I'll quit right now.
Oh my God, it was so good. And it's like, it's just that they tell that I'm sleeping with my cousin, but it's not like that. I'm not going to allow anyone else to sleep with my cousin. Come on, man.
Man, that's another movie that just gets better every time I watch it. Like
It's
same
really
with
good. I've seen it
Once
many
Upon a
times.
Time. I'm just like every time I watch it, I'm like so cool, and it's like romanticized. Once Upon a Time Hollywood romanticizes Hollywood.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to see, man. Like we want to see what it's like.
Yeah.
We want to see what it's like in the
Real
movies,
shit,
man.
yeah.
Like how they roll around in those cool cars and they're not even that rich. Like look at Brad Pitt in it. He's like got no money and he's just like just as cool, man.
Yeah.
And he looks and dude, this is what we think actors. In that movie, Brad Pitt's the cool one. When I step onto a set, I'm like, the stunt guys are so cool. Like I did a little job on Peaky Blinders. Like I wasn't a big part at all. But we had this scene where we would find like 30 men.
What season was that?
Scene 6.
I was in season 4.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was playing a Russian assassin, Italian assassin.
Jesus.
I had a sexy stash and everything. I was
Love
about to shoot the Tom Shelby in the head.
What?
It was at the scene where they had a funeral when they're burning one of their brothers.
Mate,
Yeah, and I'm like that, the stashy guy
With,
putting the gun together.
what's his name? Adrian.
Yeah. Killian.
No, but in the Italian gangster family was Adrian. What's his name now?
Oh yeah. I don't remember the pianist guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't in that shot with us.
Adrian Brody.
But I got almost shot in the nuts by the little finger from the Game of Thrones. What was his name? Who played Littlefinger?
Who's Littlefinger?
Oh God,
I'm watching it right now.
Irish actor Cillian Murphy. No, Cillian Murphy is the main guy.
Cillian Murphy's Tom Shelby.
Yeah,
I know
Tom
you're on
Shelby.
about.
Yeah.
I know you're on about. Yeah.
He's amazing, and so there was a scene where they basically shoot me. Then I'm on the floor, and they need to come and shoot me, and he's pointing right on my nuts, and there's some debris coming out of that gun and stuff, and he's like, "Are you guys sure that it's safe to shoot at this young gentleman's nut?"
And you're like,
the
yeah,
groin
yeah,
area.
mate, go for it.
And then the director's like, yeah, it should be fine. And then he's like, should we ask the stunt guy?
No, he's fine.
He looks at me like, you okay with that? I was like, well, I prefer not today with my nuts.
Dude, going into that, like segue into that, I remember when Nick on Take Cover, like I'm not a stunt guy and I'm like not like well trained in fighting.
Yeah.
And Nick came up to me and he just went, because me and you were having a fight scene, and he went, hit him. And I was like, no, I mean, I'm not going to hit him. Like, and he went, hit him. Like, for real.
Yeah.
He can take it. And
Yeah.
walks off. And I was like, definitely not going to do that. I'm definitely not going to try and actually hit you. Like, I'm aware that we're doing a...
Yeah, but if he talks about the body, you could totally hit me.
Really?
Like, yeah, 100%. Anyway, so now we're talking about Take Cover, the film we did together last year.
Yeah.
So this podcast is going to be released right when the film is released, so it's nice and fresh. I'm going to put some videos, going to put some photos or whatever. So, yeah. So when I met Jack, now it feels like 1,000 years ago.
1,000 years
Oh my
ago.
God.
We just got so close.
Just so close. Finishing each other's
sentences.
food. Anyways. So, and yeah, I met you right when we need to work on our fight, right? So we had this fight. I was playing a character, Mirko. Yeah, what was your character's name?
My character.
Yeah.
Ken.
Yeah. Can you? Ken. So yeah, and there was this fight, and I remember you were super excited. You were very keen. You were very respectful, and stunt guys appreciate that so much, right? Like one of the things that we can't stand is like someone cocky, and like those are the ones in Bollywood films we always see like, yeah, I know the moves, I can do them, I know.
Oh, really?
And we're like, you don't know the moves, you can't do them. And then they do the take and they fuck it up, and then they try to blame you basically. Like a really shitty kind of a thing. So yeah, anyways. So that's how we met, and we did our rehearsals a couple times, and for you, what like I straight away could see like all you needed more like a flow and like a kind of more like a being relaxed because you were quite tense, excited about what you're doing and stuff. But at the end, we got there. It was fucking awesome.
So after watching the film last night,
Hey, last
were
night's
you
crazy.
like fighting with an actor who's not a stunt guy? Were you happy with the scene, the choreography, and if I don't know what would change for you? Because for me, looking at that as an actor, I was just like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
I was like, that's sick.
Well, for me, honestly, like it's a bit different. If I would watch maybe 2-3 more times, then I could like nitpicking and stuff.
Right.
I do like kind of like very quickly looking at it. It felt like everything worked. All the punches were sold, and I believed what happened. The only thing what I was a bit kind of, I wouldn't say annoyed, but like there's a bit where Mirko is getting up, right, and And so this like Mirko gets smashed up and he falls down on the floor and like he's done basically. And then they continue doing their stuff. And then all of a sudden I jump from nowhere and start choking Scott Adkins again, right? But what I would prefer, like if they would show me getting up kind of like, and like, I'm back in business, kind of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like talking about all the punches and the fighting stuff, I thought it was all good. It was very powerful. The most powerful part from my character was like when I took my jacket off. Because then you could just put the guns out. And
when did you do that?
There was Scott, I think, punched me or kicked me away.
Right.
And I took my blazer off.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on.
You're like, come on, pussy.
Yeah, it really reminded me like a little bit like on one of the Mission Impossibles.
Henry Cavill. Man.
Charges the
That
gun.
is so
I
good.
think I did. I just took it off and it was like both together.
God. I remember watching, because I remember seeing that fight scene. You know, if I'm writing a fight scene in the script that I'm making, like I've had to write these massive fight scenes in my recent script. It was a note from one of the companies being like, we need more action. So like, cool. And I was like, I want to write a bathroom scene. Like,
Right.
And I went and read Mission Impossible, that scene. And I just was reading it like, this is so good.
Yeah.
And like one of my favorite fight scenes I've ever seen. And I remember listening to a interview with Henry Cavill and he said he did that and it felt so cheesy. He didn't do it on the next take. And the director came up to him and was like, hey, Henry, what about that arm pump thing you did?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, sorry. And he's like, no, can you do that again? He was like, really?
Yeah.
And apparently he was like, mate, do that in every take.
Well, how did they call it at the end? They had a name for it.
Oh, did they?
Like some kind of a gun charge or something,
Yeah.
charging my gun, something like that.
And what I love so much about that, like there's so many movies that the hero just kicks ass and like never gets hurt or never gets shot or whatever. What I love about that scene is that both of those dudes are getting their
pretty
ass
smashed
kicked.
up. Yeah, they have
I
to.
love that.
I can't stand it when it's just
so
so
good.
unbelievable that no one gets hurt.
I'm just like, there was two guys like Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill, like
I like how we
beasts.
just sidetrack. Come on, man. Take cover. We're talking about that.
Sorry, mate.
Sorry, mate.
I've not been out in a while.
Okay, so this is me, what I thought about our fight. What about you?
Well-
Like, was that your first ever like a proper fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done like bits and bobs. Like I've done in one shot, I did a lot of gun training.
Yeah.
I've done like scuba diving in the last breath, got my advanced scuba diving ticket.
Oh, nice.
So like done some stunts and like done some running and whatever and like a few fights things, but that was the biggest main fight thing I've ever done, like proper choreographed and properly staged and stuff with stunties. And I was like, this is a big deal for me.
Yeah.
Because one, like actors are just like, cool, that's on the show reel. You can show other directors, and like when you go in for other action stuff, you can be like, the main thing they ask for is like, can we see his stunt reel?
Yeah.
I literally just like missed out on a job by like that much.
Because you didn't have one. Fuck.
No, not even that. Like it literally had I had the thumbs up from the director.
Right.
The director was like, he's got my vote. It was the producers that like went a different way.
And missed because why? What was the reason?
They just went, producers wanted someone else. Different.
Oh, okay.
Like I sent it in my reel from one shot. It was all gun stuff, and it's like they always ask for that. So now I've got one shot and take cover.
Oh, so you think like now since you're gonna get that, you're gonna have more chance?
Yeah, because they always ask for it. They always ask to see it. So looking at that, so it's a big deal for actors because we're just like we're not used to doing stunts. Like we're not used. So if someone says you get to do the stunt, we're like, yes.
But
like,
I will tell you honestly, like what you need to do, 100%. I'm good mate of yours from now on, and
thank
even
you,
before that. But what you would definitely need to do some training with stunties. Just go to put like a little fights, beats together. Because I said straight away to you, like the best martial arts for you to do, if it's mainly like punching heavy, boxing. You need to figure out like go just do like how to dodge, how to wave, how to make the natural punches and all that stuff. 100% that would really help you. And then there are some actors who really focus on doing martial arts and they say, well, I'm like really good in kickboxing, but it's very different from screen fighting. So if you need to do both.
Right.
You need to do both. Like if you want, like if you see yourself in the future as an action actor, 100% do boxing, do kickboxing as well, which allows you to understand like main concepts of kicking. But then you need to do screen fighting. And all you need to do, give me a shout. I will hook you up with, if I can't do it, I'll hook you up with other stunties who would be more than happy. There's so many, London is amazing, especially East London Gymnastics, where I trained for years. And there are always some new stunties coming in, doing some training and whatever, and they can do stuff with you.
It's
That's super important.
That is, I'm well into it. I've just literally like emailed a boxing, like place.
Yeah,
in Biddericke, local, because I want to start doing that sort of stuff. Because after Take Cover, I was like, oh my God, I've got to start doing some more stuff because this is epic. So man, like for me, I don't know the intricacies of the staging of it. Like even Scott was like talking deeply about what sells and what doesn't, and what's a good action film and what's not. Like I said one and he said shit. Like I love the Bourne Ultimatum
and then, dude,
series.
there's some little tricks are insane. They're so simple, and if like you work with just even just like the simple concept when you punch to a stomach, there's a punch of like a hook to a stomach, right? What they call it, the body punch, right? All you need to do to sell it is to make a nice pullback. Right. So if you don't do a pullback and if it just sits in there as you would normally do, that's why it is. Like you go to a proper boxing coach or whatever, they're going to teach you how boxing works, but they're not going to teach you how screen works, right? And how to sell it. And there's these little things, and it would help you so much because in the future, if there's no time to like do proper rehearsal, whatever, but you know how that works, right? So that's a huge bonus in your pocket.
Well, even from this, like, so sorry, quickly diverting. I'm very happy with it. To me, it looks spot on. I was watching it, I was like, yes, what a cool fight scene, and I loved it when we were doing it. Knackering, like arms were hurting, everything hurt, but I was like, what a fun, epic scene that is. Like I'm going to chop that straight up and get it in the reel. But man, even from that, like I learned so much. Just like know where the camera is, because then you know how to sell it. Because like in the I did this film called The Abomination, and I'm playing this monster, and I have to like backhand punch someone. And in the film, there's like that big of a gap. Yeah. You can totally see it. And I'm like, I know what I would have done this time. If the camera's in front of me, I know the angle now. I know how to stage that.
Yeah, because the principles are not that complex. Honestly, they're not that complex. Because like for me, now when I'm looking at the fights, and this is like, again, things, such amazing lesson. Lee, I forgot his last name now. He's
Charles?
No, not Lee Charles. Not Lee
you
Charles.
know Lee Charles.
There's a Lee guy. He was he's a Scottish guy who lives in the States for years, like crazy martial arts, whatever. He was a fight assistant on Vikings. So I was a season 5, I think it was. And we did this little fight with other stunty Harvey. Shout out, man. Like we did the Gladiator together, amazing stunt performer. And we basically did this fight, and I thought I'm going to film it for like, for real, whatever, I can use it as well, because we had quite a lot of time. We full in costumes fighting. I put this fight together, and it was like, I thought it was good. Harvey thought it was good. Other stunties thought it was good. Then Lee comes over. He's like, I don't believe that you want to kill him. I don't believe that he wants to kill you. I believe you have a good choreo. I believe that you can sell the punches. But you're not killing each other. And that's where now this is the next level also for stunties. It's a big art.
Wow.
Sell me that I want to fucking kill that other person,
and
right?
That's acting.
And that's acting. And that's a very physical, very like, all of this kind of stuff. And then me and Harvey kind of like did this kind of, okay, we got it. And then it went full ballistic, with all the screaming, yelling, all that shit.
Yeah.
And then Lee looks like, okay, now I believe you.
Nice.
So that is, for example, for actors, the problem is like you just learn a new thing, new choreo. You're so focused on choreo, it's difficult to remember to do choreo and acting. So that's why it's so important to have those basics in your sleeve that you're always going to know how to throw a hook. They're going to know how to react on a body punch, whatever. But you have time to do a proper acting. So I
love that, and I just love all the prep, like the rehearsals with the boxers, like because you see it in behind the scenes on big movies, and they've just got the wooden boxers, and you fly through them, and they video it all with the previs, and you watch that, and it's all so exciting. And I love what like all the stunt guys, like I said, out on Peaky Blinders that time, like. We had to rehearse. It was like a 30 on 30 man fight, like Peaky Blinders against these Liverpudlians. It got cut in the final, which is sad. But I remember walking up, like actors feel really cool in front of all the extras. Like we're cool until you see stunt guys, and then you're like, those guys are cool, and they're like tattoos and like long hair. Yeah, like I remember this guy who was like chewing gum. He had like rolled sleeves, like tattoos, big dude, like greasy, like long hair. At the front of all these like 30 stuntmen, he's like, "What's up, man?" I mean, he was English, but he was like, "What's up, man?" And I was like, you guys are solid, man. Like, and I just felt like, oh, you're so cool,
And
man.
most of the stunt guys are such a sweethearts.
Yeah, they're sweethearts. So
and
like,
as the bigger gangsters they are, as the more the sweethearts they are. It's insane.
And it's funny because then we go like, oh, we're just fakers. Like we just fake it all, man. Like you guys are the dudes, man. Like I want to hang around with you guys. So like working with those guys was so cool because I got to hear all those stories and what they do, and like it opened my mind of like, dude was showing me like, oh, this is me on a scooter, and then like a Land Rover comes and just like sideswipes it. He rolls over the Land Rover and he's like, and I'm like, you actually just did that? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I didn't know how you filmed that. And he's like, yeah, no, we literally just fucking do actual crashes. And I'm like, you guys are nuts. And like showing me like jumping off buildings and stuff. And I'm like, this is mad. So like massive respect. I mean, you just saw Ryan Gosling after Fall Guy, like shouting out all the stunt people. It's like stunt people do not get the respect that they deserve.
It's mainly related just because there's so many actors who think that we're gonna take away something from them.
Yeah,
that we're gonna take the fame, like that they love the idea that people, you know, average Joes who watch them, they believe that they do that shit. And I think a lot of them try to be Tom Cruise as well. So if Tom
100%.
Cruise and Jackie Chan does their shit, like, I can do my shit as well. But you are not them. You're not trained. You don't have any of the experience. But you're an actor. And that's why you get paid for it. Like, so why would you not give the props to the people who dedicate their lives to, and they're amazing performers. And you're like, oh, well, yeah, most of the stuff I did myself. It's fuck off.
I mean, when we get an opportunity, when it's safe, when Nick goes, I'm going to give you a fight scene, it's exciting because we're like, amazing, we get to do it. But what amazing podcast that I listened to with Martin Crompton, a guy in Line of Duty. And it's just changed my whole mindset on this. It's not about you. You know, he was saying, this massively changed me. It's not about you. You know, when you get your dinner first, when you get to skip the queue from all the extras, when you get put in a van, you know, when you get called first, when the stunt guys have to do your scene, it's not about you. You're getting your dinner first so you can be back on set in time. You skip the queue so you can be back on set, you know? You get, taken in a van because we don't trust you're a fucking idiot and you'll be late. The stunt guys do it first because if you get injured, the whole set is fucked. It's not about you, man. Stop thinking it's like, you know the umbrella? When you get an umbrella?
Yeah.
It's not about you. They're fucking protecting the costume so they don't get rained on. And I'm like, then I start to learn like, take the ego away, man. It's for the whole picture.
I think I'm seeing a new meme. It's not about you.
It's not about you, man. Fucking get it out your head. Yeah, because actors get all that and they think, I'm special.
Yeah.
I'm somebody. They are bowing down to me. And it's like, no, dude. They're doing it so you can be back on set, back in the scene, on time. So we finish the day and the producer aren't biting down the director's neck. Budget, we're on time. Like if I've been on set with actors that seriously need the help to get on set. If you didn't force them, they would be late, they would be asleep, like addicts, mess heads. I've been on set with those people.
Shit.
They need to be shoved up to set.
But I mean, in the end of the day, it's a team effort. Like everyone just should do their part, and just be respectful for other parts.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Like, and there's so many pieces of puzzle to for the film to happen. Like yesterday when we met all the crew, like it was so nice to see the ADs and to see all the runners and stuff. And like without them, that wouldn't happen, And that's. And now, like, again, like, because I'm working with props now and, like, I'm dealing with all these departments, there's so much going on. There's so many people involved. And if one puzzle is missing, it's not going to happen. And you have to, just like as I said, it felt so special for me that, my boss said, oh, man, I appreciate your work and all that stuff. That's how we should give to everyone. Give props to Henry Cavill, for example. We were in The Witcher season 3. Had a lunch break. It was everyone kind of scattered around eating their food because we're like on location in the forest, beautiful. Everyone eats food somewhere. And Henry kind of sat down with his food, and he had a little good chair, whatever bench. And it was like this kind of a path. And then there was a lady pushing her trolley, like a makeup trolley, right? Just trying to get her, and she could get around, right? But Henry just saw her. He jumped up. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Here you go. Pass through." The big mega superstar.
I've heard he's like that.
And he's such a sweetheart. And that for me, that makes like it just feels like we all are the same. We're all here to create this amazing thing. And that, you know, honestly, like almost like tearing up saying that because, and then we just need more of that. Just need more of that. All the stunties, respect all the costume, do all that. You know, that's beautiful.
There's too many actors that are opposite to that. There's too many actors that it gets to them. They think they're something else now. They think they're on a different orbit, you know, and it's like, nah, dude. I mean, you quickly get used to the treatment.
10 years later, I'm going to remind you of this conversation.
I'm like, where's that fucking coffee?
I am special.
Yeah, I said a fucking latte.
I am special.
No, I hope, mate, however far I go, I hope I stay the same because, like, I've seen both sides. And, like you said, Henry Cavill, like, I remember Guy Ritchie saying in an interview, every single time a woman came into the room, Henry Cavill would stand up.
Wow.
He was like such a gent. He's such a gent. He just noticed it after like 6 months of working with him. And he was like, every time a woman comes in, he's like, stands up, sits back down, just to like greet her.
Awesome.
Man, and we need more of that. We need more, like you said, I think, I don't know what it is. I don't know why it gets to people so much. It is mad, isn't it? What my question is, do they know they're being dicks? Are they so frustrated or egotistical? Do they not know how they are being seen, or I don't know.
I mean, it could be so many different things. It's like some power trips and they get kicked out of it. I don't know. Yeah.
Because like the first few jobs I did that I got picked up in like a nice big AC and Mercedes Benz, you know, and you get all the treatment. Like you do it, you get used to it pretty quick. So as soon as I did a movie that didn't have that, you know, low budget, that didn't have the
and you need to take a train.
Yeah. I'm on the bus. I'm on 306. You know, you do think, fuck, this is not very good, is it?
Yeah.
You know, but then I quickly got out of that. Quickly changed, like, dude, you know what you're getting yourself into. You know this is low budget. You know that's bigger budget. It's fine. Like, that's
why like certain athletics, certain sports are very important to do. Like BJJ, even though I love the sport, I think it's amazing martial art, whatever. I do struggle to suggest that to people because I think it's very, very injury full. Like, you know, like Tom Hardy's doing BJJ, like it's all over the place, whatever. But BJJ teaches you to put your ego aside. That's the beautiful thing about BJJ, because you go on, no one gives a fuck how much money you have, how famous you are. If they know the technique better, they're gonna fucking strangle the shit out of you, you know. So like, and I would definitely suggest to you, like, again, someone who wants to pursue like more actiony stuff or whatever, and it's just in general, like, you know, I mean, to have a good health and all these things, there's so many benefits. Try to find something what makes you happy to do. It's challenging enough and whatever, but also puts your ego in the place, because we can, like, I can say, like, sometimes I have my ego, you know, there's no doubt, like, I would get sometimes like, oh, how dare you speak to me, you peasant.
Only to peasants though.
Yeah, a lot
they deserve it.
everywhere it goes, it's peasants. But yeah, that's the truth. And like, to find these different sports which checks your ego, so that's very important.
I think you're right, man. I think you're right.
Take cover. What else we can talk about? Nick McKinless. Good, crazy shout out to Nick. First movie him directing. Usually, as far as I know, is like stunt coordinator, like stunt man. And then I'm guessing he's done like second unit, but this time he was the boss. The boss. And he did an amazing job. I love to do audition for him. And yesterday after the thing, he's like, Renars, you did good. I was almost doubting that it's gonna be good, but you did good. And I was like, well, thank you.
I couldn't believe you actually did it. Yeah.
So Nick, obviously Ben, producer, like the stunt team, you know, Andy, Andrew, like they did just amazing job. They did that was sick from the stunt department. Then we have a couple beats where we had stunties like Adam Collins, who has the best part. I think there I've almost peed myself from laughing. We can't say. But
sad,
this is just gonna, you know. And then we had Sofian, who I was taking train yesterday with. Me and Sofian coming home, and he's like, I fucking hate London. I just live in my Reading. I can't stand London. And then he's like, which train we need to take? I was like, dude, what do you don't know? I was like, I'm just gonna follow you. And we got in the wrong train at the end. I was like, felt like one blind is following the other blind. But yeah, the whole crew was amazing. So it was sick.
It was a super fun movie.
Oh, Scott Adkins as well. Yeah.
Scott. Yeah, main star of the movie. Yeah, the big dog. Yeah, it was amazing. So one thing I loved about that, the one thing that I think they did really well and I don't know if you'll disagree with this, is I don't know if I can say it.
I don't know. Can you say?
The sniper bullets.
Oh.
I was very impressed with that.
Almost look like the real ones.
No, it was more like the timing and the sound.
Yeah.
I loved that you could. I don't know if I could just give it away.
I don't know, but speaking of sound, the music. Oh,
Yeah, no, I just meant
also
like
the music. Yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, whatever.
Anything, whatever.
I mean, everything we talk about, I'm like, am I giving anything away? Like, are we allowed to say
The
this?
music was really, really, really good.
Music was really
loved
good.
it.
Yeah, the cast was really good. Man, I just this industry is crazy. I remember like how I got the job, and it was so close not to be mine. I remember Christian Bale said like I owe my career to DiCaprio because every job DiCaprio turned down, I ended up getting the movie.
Oh wow!
And like same in The Last Breath, like I didn't have the part at the start, and apparently someone else had it, and they couldn't do it. And for this, they were looking at a named actor. Like I did One Shot with Scott. I don't know if anyone's seen One Shot, but it's a movie about Navy SEALs that infiltrate a prison and they're trying to extract a terrorist. And I played one of the Navy SEALs. Me and Scott got on with loads of banter. Again, similar character, like funny, jock dude, always dies first, whatever. Always goes first. And, a couple of years later, I was like 10 p.m. at night. Me and Scott, like, I can't remember if he had my number or something, but I just got a call. And it said Scott Adkins. And I was just like, it was like 10 o'clock at night. And I looked at Mel and I was like, Scott Adkins is calling me. I was like, why is Scott Adkins calling me? And she was like, pick it up. And I was like, okay. She's like, loudspeaker. I was like, shh. Hey, Scott, how you doing, mate? Like, thinking like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is he calling me? And he's like, oh, mate, how you doing? Yeah. We'll chat. And he said, hey, mate, we've got a movie and we just can't find the right actor for it. And we've been auditioning and just no one's coming across the table. And I said to Ben, what about that kid, Jack Parr? And Ben went, that's a fucking great idea.
Wow.
So he said, mate, I'm not supposed to be calling you. I want to give you a heads up. The movie's about a sniper and a spotter. We're looking for the spotter. I went, I'm in. I was like, mate, that sounds epic. It was like, basically it's a buddy cop movie. Like it'd be me and you in the movie. I was like, mate, that sounds epic. And he was like, look, they'll be in touch with your agent tomorrow. Like, just don't tell them. I've told you, I just want to give you a heads up and see if you're interested. I was like, mate, I'm very interested. He's like, really cool movie. Can't find the second lead, basically. I was like, sick. So anyway, the next day I got an audition through. I auditioned and then they needed to convince the team. And then he was calling me up saying, but dude, it's literally between you and another actor who's like a bit of a name. And it's literally like, kind of like, is this named actor going to give us like, bring the money back in? So I don't know what went off in the behind the scenes, but I was like, it's gone. Yeah. I was like, dude, if I was a director and I had an option, I would choose the named actor. Like, I was like, but maybe, I don't know, maybe it was fee was too much. I don't know what went off. I don't know, but maybe they did go for me because I auditioned better. I don't know. But, or maybe they got Alice Eve. Maybe they're like, oh, we got Alice Eve, so we don't need to have 3 names or whatever. So anyway, I was just like, I haven't got it. I was like, whatever.
Yeah, because they got Mirko and Alice Eve and you.
Exactly. So, and then I got a call just like, oh, you got the job. And I was like, no way. Dude. I was like, that's amazing. And so, everyone tries to get in with the director and sometimes the producers. But then that was a massive lesson. Like, hey, the lead actor, with a name also has a say in these things. Like, I didn't realize how much Scott like had a say. Like he suggests people and people go, okay, yeah, it's a good idea. And
I have a crazy idea. Should we try call it Scott?
Go on then. Yeah.
Well, but you need to. He's probably not going to pick up mine. So we need to sync it with the just send him a message first. Send him a message saying, me and Renars, we're doing a podcast. And we did a premiere yesterday, obviously. And then we could feature this when we release it. Or just send him a voicemail. Maybe that's going to be easier. I think you just do the voicemail. I don't know.
What, voice text?
Voice text, yeah.
What, just say, hey, mate.
So we did the premiere yesterday, whatever. Or maybe not. I'm done. I'm not sure now. Because I'm like, my podcast is not massive. So it's like, is he going to be interested? Now I almost feel like I shouldn't do it. I don't know. What do you think?
Mate, I don't know. I was just going to text him. See if
Okay, text him. I like how you put the responsibility on me now. So I don't know. Yeah, just text him. Would you like to have a quick phone chat where you're going to feature this in the podcast?
Oh, I'm double thinking it now. Like he might be like, I've got to fucking call my PR agent, my agent and shit.
Fuck that.
He might be like, I'm not sure, mate. I don't need to fucking check.
Yeah.
Mate,
so many things you need to do.
yeah,
Man.
I don't know, mate.
Let's just keep this to kindergarten level. Yay! Okay, that was Take Cover. So everyone checks it out. It's going to be freaking awesome. It's a lot of fun, a lot of action. A little bit of good acting
from you.
Yeah,
no one else did a good job.
Yeah, awesome, cool. So we're almost there, dude. We smashed an hour already. This is the third hour.
Wow.
So how about quickly before we wrap it up? We go 3 people for you, and one of them was I was like looked it up, and who are your 3 people? Do you remember? People, Leonardo DiCaprio. Obviously, we talked about him. Yeah, sick dude. Like, what did we already like discuss the whole? But I mean, like the career starting from Titanic. I love Titanic. I rewatched Titanic again just recently, like a little whatever girl. His career just insane.
I think that's why I put it, because I was like, for me, I think he's the best actor. I just think he's had the maddest career. And, you know, some other people would argue it's someone else and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know, like for me, he's just had one of the most solid careers I've ever seen. Like, there's always been really good people like De Niro. But then if you look at De Niro's list, like, he has done a few that you're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
But I don't know if DiCaprio has.
But also DiCaprio from like very young age. He was like, from very young age,
yeah.
you know.
I think DiCaprio's probably had the cleanest, like, most epic, like, filmography in the world. Like, he's just, from one film to the next, he's just banger after banger.
Question. You meet DiCaprio. What would he say?
Oh. I'm joking. I'm joking. You can cut that out.
No, because what I love about it, the idea when we say like, oh, this celebrity inspires me this way, that way, whatever. Man. Like for me, I can't. There's hands down the biggest celebrity I would like to meet up and hang out and have a chat would be Joe Rogan. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
You know, like and on his shit, I look like this his life story. Like I can relate so much. It's insane. Honestly, sometimes I feel like we almost somehow we're related. Like because his childhood was so similar to my childhood, like sports and all those things. And I know definitely I have shit to talk to him about, right? But then when you meet celebrities like Ryan Reynolds and or like Samuel L. Jackson, I have no clue what to say to Samuel. Big fan, like, what else are you going to say?
Mate.
And he heard that shit so many times.
I would hate to meet DiCaprio, but I'd love to work with him. If I met him, I'd just be another fan.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, mate, I'd love your films. And he'd be like, all right, yeah.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't really have a proper conversation. If we were working together, we'd be in the green room having a coffee and then we could chat.
Yeah.
And then he'd probably be like, you're an actor, I respect you. Whereas if we met in like, I used to work at Chiltern Firehouse in the hotel as a bellboy. And we used to meet all the celebs there, like, you know, everyone. You know, Matthew McConaughey, Brad Cooper. And you'd just be like, mate, I love your work. And they're just like, cheers, dude.
Yeah,
They just don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
So it's like,
that is the thing.
Don't want to meet him.
The purpose of my life and on this podcast or whatever is that when I actually can sit down and talk to them as like a human to human, you know, like we have something to laugh about. We have something to, you know, instead of just like, oh, big fan. That's why I can't stand when rarely stunties do that, but sometimes they do that as well. Do selfies with celebrities and afterwards they post them. So
yeah.
So
Who
fucking
cares,
what
man?
exactly?
Yeah,
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like whatever. Like, oh, I don't get that. Oh, selfie. I got selfie with this guy. It's like,
I can't like bring myself to going up to someone to ask for a selfie. It feels so like weird and intrusive. Like I don't know if I've ever done it. I think I've done it once to I can't remember her name. She was in the X Factor.
No point.
Yeah.
Like my interaction was with the what's his name who played Ron Weasley on the Harry Potter.
Rupert Grint.
Yeah, Rupert Grint. And we did this Snatch TV series.
I was an extra in that.
Are you?
Yeah.
I was in that massive fight we had like on two gangs are fighting in on market or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he's standing there smoking next to me and I was like, I had nothing to say to him. Like I would definitely didn't want to say, oh, big fan of Harry Potter, which I wasn't. So like,
you never lie, yeah.
And then all I said to him, you smoke a lot. he was chain smoking. And all he said to me, yeah, it's boring, nothing to do, smoking. Wow. That's it. That's all our conversation. And it didn't go anywhere else.
Wow.
And yeah, he was cool. He was respectful. He was like, you know, very chill. But then at the same time, like, as I told you about Mr. Swindle. Was it Swindle?
Yeah.
What was his first name?
Connor.
Connor, yeah, Jesus. So with Connor, when we had a chat, and it's just like a genuine, like a real cool conversation, whatever. And again, I was very hesitant, didn't want to go into whatever, but we started sitting there in one room, there's nothing really to do. And I said to him, how did your life change since the sex education became such a huge hit? And he responded like, it's honestly sometimes just gets uncomfortable. I'm standing on the street, like just like people staring at me. They don't say anything. They don't come over or whatever. They just stare at me, right? And that's all he said. And I'm like, from human perspective, it's being a celebrity in general, it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Why?
It's mental.
How is it a good thing?
It's mental.
Because like even when you say, oh, you can get a lot of chicks, even then, you know that most of the chicks who want to get with you, it's like gold diggers and gonna trade to get something out of you.
Yeah.
Being a celebrity, literally, there's no fucking bonuses.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I at first thought it was really cool. I was like, oh my God, when I'm a famous actor, it's gonna be really cool. And the more biographies I read, the less I want to be famous. And it was just like, that's the byproduct now.
Yeah.
It's the worst bit about being an actor is the fame. It's like, I've read so much about it, like DiCaprio, about his life. And his
Dude, when we did that,
dude, that sounds awful.
I worked in Dunkirk, right? Huge movie, right? And it was one of the Harry Styles, the guy from the One Direction.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. The girls, they figured out that he's there. They were screaming like they were like half a mile away because they put the barriers everywhere. They had to cover. Actually, yesterday, Andrew was one of the stunt guys who was like a taller guy. They had to cover him as he was walking to this boat where we need to go. So cover him so no one can see him. How is this anywhere good?
Yeah.
That's why, like, again, as far as I would like to be a celebrity, again, there's a Joe Rogan who talks, but he collects information, he gives something. It's not only like, oh, look at me, I'm famous. But even he needs bodyguards. Like, he can't go anywhere now, like, chilling. And that's why I have so much respect to, like, someone like Sia. The singer who covers her face with her hair, with her fringe.
Okay.
Like, that's great because, no one knows who she is. Because her argument was like, I want to go to a Costco to buy some shit for my house.
Yeah.
I cannot if everyone knows my face.
Yeah.
Like, look at Jackson when he used to buy shit. He had to literally lock the entire fucking supermarket to go do some shopping.
Yeah, there's one funny film out with Zac Efron, and he's like a super famous actor, and he can't go to the shop.
Yeah,
and like in the film, he goes to the shop for the first time, and he's like, "Oh my God!" He's like, "Oreo?" It's like they do different kinds of Oreos.
That's
now?
where it comes from.
Yeah, he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's so funny." And then there's another YouTube sketch where they get like really famous YouTubers like with loads of cash to like guess the prices of milk. And they even do it with billionaires. They like guess the price of milk. They're way off. They're like $10. And they're like, for a pint of milk. And they're like, yeah, I don't know. Is that too low? Like 20? We're like, dude, a pint of milk, like a tiny little carton of milk. And they're like, yeah, it's quite small. And they're like, the gallon's like 20, no? And they're like, no, dude. They're like, it's £1.50. And they're like, fuck, that's cheap.
That's hilarious.
And we're like, yeah, mate, milk's not that expensive.
Just a different world, man.
Oh, it's crazy.
Different world. Okay, let's move on. Next person we have my dad.
I know that's cheesy.
No, it's not cheesy. Dude, no,
because
it's not cheesy.
I almost don't want to put those things in because everyone's like, oh,
No, that's not true. Listen, from very beginning you said like because of your dad, the way he steered you, the way he said like you just follow your dreams. And that's my mom as well. For 100%. Me, like she was the person who she could see that I have no fucking clue what I want to do. She just go do whatever you want to do.
When you said 3 favorite people, I'm just like, why would I pick DiCaprio? I don't know who he is.
Yeah,
like,
that is the funny one, right?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think I picked that because you asked for 3 people. I know my dad. Like we're friends. Like that should be your favorite person.
Yeah.
When this is why we were talking about celebrities. Like when people fascinate with celebrities, I'm like, you don't know them.
Yeah.
And when you meet them, you'll realize you don't like them.
Yeah.
Like I've met my biggest celebrity like people. Like that, my biggest. What do you call them?
It's mentor, inspiration.
My biggest role models. And they're dicks. I'm like, what? I thought you were going to be really nice, but they don't care about me. So my dad, he just like I said before, massive inspiration. I've never I've had friends that they're like, my parents want me to go into accounting or financing. It's a good prospect. And my dad was always just like, you do whatever you want. I'm not worried about you. You'll put your mind, I'm very confident with what you're going to do. If you put your mind to something, you will achieve it. And every phone call I have with him, which is like, Dad, I just got my first lead. And he's like, I know you're going to go far. do whatever, and he's just not in the business. He has no idea about it. Whatever my decision is like, whatever you decide, I think it could be right.
And can you imagine that person, that father or your mom who you're looking up to, and then they're like everything in your life or a huge part of your life, and they say like, no, son, I think you're not gonna make it. I think just stop trying. You tried, you did your best, come home. Dude, like talking about, dads, my dad, again, I told you, he gave me a couple lessons, not that many, but one of them, this is also amazing, which I love to this day. I came home, as I told you, physics was one of my subjects I hated. I got a bad mark. Everywhere else I got good marks, and physics got bad mark. And my mom sees the report and she's like, oh, look at what your son is. He looks up, he looks down, he looks up to me, and I thought he's going to be angry, whatever. And he smiles. I was like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Well, listen, I just wanted a helper somewhere in the farm who was going to stay over here, going to help me around, shoveling shit. It's good. And I'm like, the biggest motivation in my life. Wow. Dude, it was so smart the way he did it. Because I know that I don't want to stay here and shoveling shit or whatever. I'm going to put my mind, I don't do everything to get the fuck out away from this hole, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it was beautiful. That's to mad. This day, I think about it. That is mad. And the one more thing, sorry, I'm taking all your time. But the other thing, what he told me as well, like, which I love, and I keep saying to so many people now, when I was competing karate, so I competed like national level, and also I went to European competitions and stuff and represented Latvia. And I see like all the kids have their parents with them, supporting them, shouting them. My dad and mom never been on any competitions. My mom, she's very, what do they call them when they're against the violence? Pacifist? Pacifist, is it?
Something like that. Pacifist.
Pacifist, isn't it? I thought it is pacifist.
We're talking about intellectual conversations. These are like these dumbasses.
Yeah, exactly. And English is my third language. This is your first language. Just saying.
Whoa. I'm doomed, man. Pacifist.
Pacifist.
Something like that.
Something like that. And anyways, she done like fighting, whatever. And I said to my dad one day, it's like, Dad, I'm European champion. Just, got like second place. And like, you never came to any of my competitions. You never supported me and all of that. And then he says like, son, do you do this for me or for your mom? Who do you do this for? And I'm like, for myself. So why would we need to be there? This is your life. You take responsibility for you do. And then again, like a massive bulb, like, fuck, seriously. So anything what I do, like also getting good grades or whatever, that's not for mom and dad, that's for you. Yeah. And as soon as we understand that, that's anything we put in, this is like for us, to grow.
Mate, a good mate of mine, I went for coffee with him, really down in the dumps, wasn't where I wanted to be, wasn't doing big movies. I was like doing really low budget stuff and I was enjoying it. But I was, he was like, how you doing? I was like, oh man, I'm just like, I'm not doing like TV. I'm not doing like big budget stuff. I'm doing like really crappy work, like low budget stuff. And he just went, who are you doing this for? And I was like, and he was like, are you enjoying those things that you're doing? Or do you want your family and your friends to know that you're a big movie star? Yeah. And do you want everyone at home to see you on TV? Because this is acting, dude. Yeah. This is what it is. Like whether you're on £100 a day movie or you're on £1 million, you're an actor. Who are you doing this for? And I went, I'm doing it for me. And he was like, just carry on. And I'm like, I needed that. Yeah. And that changed my whole perspective, man. I was just like, every day I was like, fuck everyone, fuck what everyone thinks. I'm doing this for me.
Huge. So, and the same thing people talk about in my podcast. Like how many people I have like, okay, so how much money are you making now of the podcast? Dude, I have like 200 subscribers on YouTube. I don't make any money. Yeah. And even if I'm not going to make money for the next 10 years, I don't give a fuck because I'm enjoying it. It's so much fun. I'm like collecting all this knowledge and like people have fun. Now the last podcast I released with Tony Lucken, who's an amazing stunt coordinator and he's been stunt performer for 30 years. He was one of the guys who was on Saving Private Ryan. Wow. He was one of the guys who was on a Gladiator, right? Do you remember Gladiator well?
Dude.
The first one?
I love
You love Gladiator. Remember that scene where Joaquin Phoenix, the young prince, is training in the woods with topless fighters. One of them was Tony Lucken. Then on Saving Private Ryan, on the very beginning, there's a guy who lies in the sand, and there's on the back says Private Ryan. So that's one of the brothers who get killed. That's him. And I'm like, this guy was in things what I thought is the best, coolest shit ever. And I was like 10 years old and back in Latvia, had no idea what my future is going to bring. And now I'm sitting and talking to this person. Like, it's the best thing ever. And then I released it, and so many stunties say like, oh, dude, good job with the Tonys. It's like, that's all I need, you know? And if that's all it's going to be, I don't care. You know?
Smashed it, mate.
Smashed it.
Smashed it.
Okay. This is like, what's next? We have Safdie brothers. Jeez, I don't even know how to say that.
This is another thing. I'm like, I don't know why I chose them. I think I chose them for the podcast so that people would be like, this is an actor and he wants to talk about his favorite filmmakers. But you know, if you talk about like favorite people, it's like my dad, my mum, my girlfriend. Like, they're the biggest support, really.
Yeah, but I think the way I look into people stuff, which I totally don't mind, like the parents and stuff, because also there's a cool, when you talk about your parents, it also tells to me who are you. You know what I mean? So like the way your dad was saying to you, like those things, that's very important. But also like when I look into what people inspire you and what are they standing for, what are the concepts they're standing for. Yeah. So, you know, that's why like for me, I keep repeating Joe Rogan's name, Jesus Christ. But like it's the values he stands for, the things what he fights for. That's I think it's so important.
Man, I should have thought about some more of those guys, because there are people out there that I'm like, yeah.
You mentioned the podcast. You said like you fucking love it. What's the actor's name?
Smartless, Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman. I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Those guys are just funny though. I mean, I should have thought about who inspires me like morally, values. Right. I should have thought about who, because I can't think right now who does. But and the Safdie brothers, they're just great filmmakers. I just love their movies. You know,
what are the movies? Can you say it?
Good Time and Uncut Gems. I mean, I need to look at some earlier work.
I heard Uncut Gems. That's the who was the main guy? The comedian
Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler. Oh,
man,
Joe Rogan keeps talking about that. Uncut Gems is amazing. I haven't seen it yet.
Dude,
is it about gambling? Something.
It's about basically the I can't think what you call it now. How bad's this? The
gambling?
Jewels.
Oh,
like kind of
jewelry.
The jewelry market in New York.
Okay.
And like about how kind of like the Jewish community of like, you know, trading diamonds and jewels and.
Okay. We had a book as well. One of the I don't want to get into books, but quickly. Okay, give me the titles of the books. The one was about the cats.
Yeah, Save the Cats, screenwriting book, really boring. Just about structure of screen.
But that's who was into movies about screenwriting. They should check it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if you're into movies, check it out, because it just basically lays out the structure of movies in screenplays, and if you divert away from that, why it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And many people have tried it and it doesn't seem to work. And this is kind of, it's all about like the pacing of a film. Like we were talking about the pacing of a movie the other night, and it's like when it drops in momentum and picks up again, how do you keep the audience entertained?
Gotcha.
And it's like you can still write any story within that structure. And you don't have to change what your idea is. It's just trying to get you to like keep an audience entertained, basically. And like, how do you hook someone?
Right.
There's loads of movies that you're like, oh, the first half was so boring. Or it's like, oh, the first half was good and then it just got boring. Or, you know, there's loads of kind of reviews and stuff. And it's trying to make, you know, think in a way of like, how do you kind of structure a screenplay
and keep
properly?
The suspense and all those things. Like
all those things, yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock was such a master of suspense.
Yeah.
And then one of my guests who came over, his favorite film was called Jewel by Steven Spielberg. The first movie which literally put him on the map. It's a super old movie, and it's all about this truck driver and this car, and this just the guy who drives normal car, and they never revealed the truck driver who was driving it, and there was this crazy suspense, and I just loved that movie. And then my guest was like, I can't believe that you really enjoyed it. And I was like, yeah, it's fucking awesome. Yeah. It was like this just about to reveal who's the guy. No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
Jewel, you can just on YouTube it. It's there. Whatever.
If you want this to be the final say, I think this is a really interesting story and book. I had a coach, life coach, discovered me. He did like big businesses. Met him at a premiere. Randomly, he just was like, dude, I don't know what it is. I just kind of want to work with you. And I've never worked with an actor before. I said, I've got no money. I'm like fresh into London. He said, let's do 3 sessions pro bono.
And all you wear is just shorts and socks. We haven't played that in a while.
I forgot to tell you about that bit. But he was like, dude, you were fascinating. I met him, we were just chatting for so long at this screening. And he was a friend. He was like this filmmaker's dad's friend. And he was a life coach. He'd like coach like CEOs in big businesses, and like if the business wasn't working, he'd go in and be like, try and change this. So he met me and he messaged me after. He was like, dude, you're a fascinating dude. Like maybe we should work together. And I was like, I haven't got no money, and you're really expensive. Like really cost a lot of money an hour. He said, let's just do 3 sessions pro bono. I've never worked with an actor. Who knows? I might learn something. We did 3 sessions. We both was like, whoa. He was like, let's do 5. And then 5 went by, and I was like, I still can't afford to pay anymore. He's like, let's do 10. It was like, you're teaching me about myself as just as much as you're learning from me. And I was in tears. Like sometimes I was in floods of tears. He said before we did it, he was like, you might be like emotionally broken down from this. You might find this really hard. It's up to you. You don't have to take this. And I was like, let's do it. And it changed my life. And one of the books that he gave me was this book that I said.
What was the title?
Shall I read it out? Because it's a bit of a long title.
I'll find it.
It's called Living Like You Mean It. And then ... Use the wisdom and power of your emotions to get the life you really want. Ronald J. Frederick.
I think I read that one.
It's all about your emotions, and it talks about like, and it just made me realize about people from like my village and my town and like family. And I was like, the amount of men up north, like where I'm from, just suppress their emotions. And it's basically talking about like you've got this emotional tank.
Yeah.
And if you suppress everything and keep it down, this tank fills up and it starts to not really understand which emotion hits when it comes. So it all kind of just mixes in, and then you get men that do this. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, right. That's like people from my village. They're just kind of emotionless. They never cry. They never laugh out loud. Like, they never really like laugh out loud.
And express how exactly they feel.
So it's all about like trying to get rid of this emotional tank, keeping it empty.
It's in my list, which I started listening to this one.
Yeah. So that when you get an emotion, you feel it fully. So like now, I mean, I think this is from the book, through acting, like being able to let emotions out. And like, you know, it's weird for men to cry, but like now through doing that for a number of years, when something comes, I want to cry really bad. I'll cry at cartoon films. Like I do that all the time. All the time, man. I'm like
Greatest Showman,
if
man.
If you make me laugh, I'm laughing out loud. Yeah. Like the emotions hit me really hard now, and I do it. Like emotions come a lot for me now, whereas I used to suppress everything. Right. The book is trying to make you aware of your emotions and use them for what you really want. You know, the life you really want. It's super fascinating. It started making me understand people from different areas and like cultures and why.
And backgrounds.
And literally I was with a producer, a mate of mine the other day, and he went to see a short film of a mate of his, and it was something about like Men Don't Cry as a short film. And it was the study of men and why we've become to not cry. And apparently it was like working class men in factories and mines. It was just like, I'll butcher it, but it was basically saying it's just a waste of time. It's like we need you to just crack on and just work, and crying's a waste of time. And it was just over time we just kept on suppressing it, and then it's just become society that it's weird for men to cry. It's a shamed upon as well, you know. It's a shameful thing as a man.
Frowned upon,
yeah. It's like I feel loads of shame, and I feel weak, and I feel like a pussy. Am I allowed to say that on this podcast?
You're allowed to say that, and I think when people say I feel like a pussy, it's a really weird one, because pussy is one of the most amazing things there is out there. I don't even want to say thing. It's a creation, flower of life, of everything. And pussies are way more agile and more stronger than dicks, 100%. So if you want to say that I don't be weak, you can say I don't want to be a little dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't want to be a little Jack Parr.
Yeah. Hey. But that's how I look at it as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, but yeah, crying, I just feel so silly. And I say to my girlfriend, like, I don't want my girlfriend to think I'm like this weak man. We're protectors. We're like, we want to protect, provide, all these things. So we just feel like we've failed. So, oh man, she thinks I'm a loser. Yeah. It's okay to cry, man.
Yeah. There's it is again, this is the product of our environment and upbringing. Like, you know, I grew up also like where my dad would cry only when he was drunk. You know, when he actually gonna show his real fucking feelings. Like, because you know the drunk people, when you see the way they are, this is what they hold shit inside them, right? So Yeah.
Yeah,
In general,
I've only ever
just
seen my dad cry twice.
Wow.
Twice. One, and both mad times. One was when we were kids, when my mum and dad broke up. My mum was taking the kids away from him, so he was crying. And then the second time was when his dad died.
Fuck.
Like, dude, twice. Like, he needs to cry a bit more than that, I think. Like,
and it just also be normalized. Like,
let
it's
it
a
out,
normal
you
thing.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, men definitely in my dad's generation, way worse than us.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
like you said, like, what miners, like, everyone mining, fucking strong, powerful,
they don't
whatever
cry
thing. And
at
they
all.
don't cry.
They don't cry
They
at
need
all.
to cry more. Okay, what was last book? Third one?
Damn, I didn't even know I had a third book. Let me have a look. Oh, mate, this is a great book. Cinema Speculation, Quentin Tarantino. What I love about this book so much is that each chapter is a different movie from like the 70s. And I'm sure it spans into the 80s, but Tarantino grew up watching movies in the 70s, 80s, and he creates this book on cinema speculation, on why he thinks that changed cinema today. So you have to watch the movie to understand the the chapter. So I've never seen hardly any of these movies before. So my girlfriend bought me this book. She knows I love Tarantino. She's bought me this book for Christmas. And I flicked through it. I've never seen any of these movies. So I was like, this is my university. This is my film school. I'm going to go watch all these movies. And so I can't read the chapter until I've watched the movie. So I have to watch this like old 70s classic with like Steve McQueen.
Awesome.
You know, and I'm just like, this sick old school movie. And I'm like, then he talks about it. And he's like, this is why hero characters, you know, were cool, because Steve McQueen changed the game. He changed the game. He had zero emotion. He was just stone cold. You know, he didn't react to anything. When people were screaming in his face, he'd just stare at them. And people were like, that was so cool. You know, people changed cinema. You know, like Brando. Like Brando was like, you know, the king of like improvising. You know, he just like, he just do something different that it wasn't in the script, and people would just be like, what? You know, like, they'd be so, there's that famous scene where you're like, oh no, is that in Pretty Woman? I think, oh no, I think it's Streetcar. I think it's in Streetcar where Brando, he goes, Row! And the woman like, and she
And that was
shits
improvised.
herself. And he just like, people were like, that's amazing. What's he doing? Because there was like, movies were just like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You know, you should go to this way.
Oh, that's the old school one. That's what I actually want to talk to you about as well. How back in the days, how they were acting, and also like that goes into when you act. Do you just we want to come across as natural as possible? Like we don't want to be overacting on all that stuff, and how that changed to the time. Now you just want to, again, if you act, like we need to pretend that we are those people, but not pretend. It's like weird one.
Yeah.
What do I want to say? Oh yeah, like things like, for example, I'm walking here, the super famous like thing as well. That was very natural.
Brilliant.
Some random extra, whatever, almost drove into the dudes and stuff.
That is iconic.
Okay, listen, it's gonna be our let's take the shades off.
Yeah.
This is the last bit of the podcast.
Okay.
This is where I call it the wisdom of bomb of wisdom. Okay.
Bombs
of wisdom.
Bombs of
So,
wisdom.
what is your bomb of wisdom to what do you want to say to a younger version of yourself, or maybe someone young who would like to follow your footsteps? You know, to be an actor, to do all the things what you're doing. What would be your kind of a nice, concise suggestion?
I think the biggest thing that I've taken from all of this stuff is that like anyone can do it. Like it just doesn't matter who you are. Like I used to look at these celebrities and like these big actors and was like, they've just got something different, some wizardry stuff. So I started just testing the waters. Like I'd email an agent and I'd get signed, or I'd email a famous actor and they'd get attached to my script. It was just test. I was like, no one's going to sign up to this. Let's just test the waters, and stuff started to happen. So no matter how big it is in your eyes, just test the waters and see what happens. But definitely like nothing's too big. Like I think you can get there. Like I still think I can get to like Hollywood and be in huge Hollywood movies. Like I'm just like, Brad Pitt's going to get old. And I'm like up and coming.
Hallelujah, brother.
Like why can't I be there? Like, I just don't get it. Like there's no difference.
Okay, let's
just
wrap
say-
it up. Thank you so much, man, for
Thank you,
coming
dudes.
over. Like this is awesome. This is very emotional for me, and this is cool. Thank you so much. The last thing what we do, we show how we can dance. Are you ready? We're about to drop. Oh. Oh. Yeah, eye contact. Abs.
Blah, blah, blah. Renars podcast.